Are you reconciled or unreconciled? Lu Muyan's voice was sharp and domineering. The human-eating blood-thorn vine king looked at the woman opposite, who was like a beautiful, delicate flower with her light purple clothes fluttering in the wind, revealing a kind of uninhibited boldness as if looking down upon this world. There was a kind of indignation revealed on his human-like face. This woman actually wanted to take him as her spirit pet. But that purple-gold spirit flame was also too powerful. He was suppressed to such an extent that he simply couldn't defeat her. This king isn't reconciled. After considering it for a bit, the human-eating blood-thorn vine king toughened its head and said, "You, a little girl at Sword King Cultivation Base, actually wanted to take this king as a sprit pet. Truly what a big joke." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile instead of anger, "Then this young miss will beat you until you're reconciled." If the human-eating blood-thorn vine king just accepted it like that, then she'd actually feel that there was a scheme. Humph, don't use the purple-gold spirit flame if you have the ability. The human-eating blood-thorn vine king looked at Lu Muyen and said with fear, "You want to use reverse psychology?" Lu Muyen's eyes revealed a trace of ridicule. "I can conquer the purple-gold spirit flame, so it's a part of my strength. Do you see me as an idiot? You despicable woman. This king won't play with you anymore." Seeing the ridicule on her face, the human-eating blood-thorn vine king spoke furiously, then shot up towards the sky. Since he couldn't run underground, then hell run away in the sky. Just wait for when he calls a demon cultivator who didn't fear the purple-gold spirit flame to come as reinforcement. He'd definitely show this woman something good. This woman was fair and tender, her fresh blood must be very delicious. Lu Muyen watched the human-eating blood-thorn vine king's body turn into a golden light and fly towards the sky, the ridicule in her eyes even thicker. Her fingers pointed towards the array that surrounded him, in circle. Immediately, only a muffled sound could be heard, and the human-eating blood-thorn vine king was barricaded by a circling jade-colored rune barrier, and he was bounced back to the ground. Lu Muyen didn't bother to waste time any longer, so she directly leapt into the array with bare and empty hands, enveloped her fists with purple-gold spirit flame, then just smashed it towards the human-eating blood-thorn vine king fist by fist. Each time the fists with toughness not inferior to a late-phase Tier 5 demonic beast, carrying a layer of purple-gold colors, smashed against the dark golden main branch of the vine, a dent would form, and it would immediately blacken, spreading a burnt smell. Bing Ji watched as the beautiful and lovely little owner's face was dyed with thick battle intent and excitement, slamming each punch down exceptionally violently while the human-eating blood-thorn vine king's shrill cries resounded ceaselessly. Each time he wanted to escape, he'd be blocked by the rune array, then immediately be greeted with the slender fist covered with purple gold. The corner of his lips twitched uncontrollably, eyelids jumped, and he swallowed his saliva as he said to Mo Yen, "Fortunately I haven't truly angered her before." The indifference in Mo Yen's eyes was replaced by a smile, his voice light, "You can go try." Bing Ji rolled his eyes. It wasn't like he was a masochist. Although Little Owner's cultivation base was one stage lower than him, but she was filled with tricks. Based on those numerous types of spirit arrays alone, it could give him a headache, not to mention that she still had the purple-gold spirit flame that had been tamed to obedience in her body. Spirit flames were a spiritual item that needed at least 1,000 years to birth from heaven and earth. It was divided into mortal rank, earth rank, sky rank, saint rank, and the higher the level, the more difficult to produce and the longer it took. For example, the purple-gold spirit flame couldn't be formed without at least a few 10,000 years. It also required a special geographical environment and the companionship of other spiritual items to slowly be birthed. The heavenly frost golden crystal was a necessary condition for the birth of the purple-gold spirit flame, and a mountain with the crisscrossing of extreme heat and extreme coldness was the necessary geographical environment for its birth. Therefore, as long as this kind of spirit flame was subdued by someone, it couldn't only be used for alchemy and smithing, but could also be used in battle. Its destructive power was extremely strong and was even the nemesis of demonic plants and some demonic beasts. Although Bing Ji was a descendant of a Cyan Luan, but his innate talents were mostly of the ice attribute, so the purple-gold spirit flame also had an innate suppressing effect on him. He took another sneak peek at the human-eating blood-thorn vine king who was being beaten by Lu Muyen, unable to fight back at all while screaming miserably. He shrunk his neck. In the future, he'd rather offend the red-clothed beautiful man than to offend Little Owner. When she landed in this area, he saw the shocking scene. That petite and stunning purple-clothed woman had fierce fighting intent between her brows, directly bombarding the human-eating blood-thorn vine king with her fists. What was even more exaggerated was that the human-eating blood-thorn vine king, who was usually very mighty, had no power to fight back right now and was just fully dodging the little woman's attack with all his might while screaming miserably. That appearance was just terribly miserable. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. He flew to the side of the seven-colored parrot, but then his eyes narrowed. You're not a seven-colored parrot. This bird gave him a very oppressive aura and even had the sense of oppression from an ancient bloodline. He was definitely transformed from a divine beast. Bingji looked up at the mighty and majestic black-brown golden eagle king, his eyes revealing a look of having been delightfully charmed. This figure was so good. Well, little bird, you have some good eyesight. Bingji raised his chin with a tsundere look. Chi furrowed his brows. Why did a divine beast turn into a seven-colored parrot? He added in his head, how embarrassing. Bingji was poked in his sore spot, then huffed, Little master, I am happy to do so. In the end, wasn't he forced to and was helpless? Little owner didn't allow him to use his true form to appear for fear of causing a sensation. The red-clothed beautiful man deliberately suppressed his demonic energy at a tier where he couldn't transform. If he didn't turn into a seven-colored parrot, then did he have to transform into a puppy or kitten? Forget it, it was fearful just thinking about it. She was too lazy to pay attention to him. This divine beast gave him an unreliable feeling. But when he moved his gaze to Mo Yen, a coldness mixed with pressure surrounded him and his heart couldn't help but tremble. Spirit devourer. He couldn't help exclaiming. When Mo Yen heard the Golden Eagle King actually recognize his true form, did he turn his head to Qi, his eyes indifferent. So it turned out to be a golden eagle with the bloodline of a Kunping divine beast one. Kai's eyes revealed surprise. This spirit devourer was definitely extraordinary. With only a glance, he could actually tell that he had the bloodline of a Kunping divine beast. Your aura doesn't belong to this interface. You're also from there, right? A layer of light lingered in Mo Yan's deep black eyes, making people unable to see the emotion and depth. There was shock in Kai's eyes. How did he know? You come from there? She asked after falling silent for a bit. Only those who came out from there could feel his aura. No wonder. He was wondering why a spirit devourer that didn't exist on Tianling continent would appear here. So it turned out that he came from the same place as him? Mo Yen didn't hide it either. Towards Qi, who came from the same place as him, there was a sort of recognition. Qi revealed an excited look. This spirit devourer really came from there. If it wasn't because he unintentionally wandered here, then he was avoiding an enemy. He also gave him a sense of closeness. Bingji listened to them and there was a hint of confusion that rose in his heart. There was where? You're that woman's spirit pet? She asked after thinking for a bit. Mo Yen made a sound of recognition indifferently. She was even more puzzled and shocked inwardly. The spirit devourer had a pure demonic race bloodline that was comparable to that of a true dragon and heavenly phoenix, and was also a royal race demonic beast. So how did he recognize a lower interface woman with such weak strength as his owner? Mo Yen saw his confusion but didn't explain either, only asking, You're Yi Qinghan's spirit pet? This golden eagle carried Yi Qinghan's aura, so it must have signed a blood contract with Yi Qinghan since childhood. Qi suddenly felt as if he understood after hearing what he said. He also sincerely recognized Yi Qinghan as owner, depending on each other in life and death. There must also be a reason for why this spirit devourer recognized that woman as owner. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly heard the shrill screams of the human-eating blood-thorn vine king not far away. Reconciled, reconciled, stop hitting me. Come true. Chapter 162. Owner, is it really good for you to be so violent? Reconciled, reconciled, stop hitting me. The human-eating blood-thorn vine king was in pain all over his body, and in the end he couldn't bear the fists with purple gold flames falling onto his body anymore, so he screamed in submission. Lu Muyen grabbed his main branch vine with one hand and punched with the other. Hearing that he suddenly said he was reconciled, she furrowed her brows. I still haven't fought enough yet, why don't you fight back? I'm the only one fighting, what a disappointment. It was rare to be able to have a hearty fight. The body of the human-eating blood-thorn vine king was very durable against being beaten, so she vented a bit while she was at it. But the only thing that made her dissatisfied was that this demonic plant only knew how to dodge, and it didn't even hurt or itch when he fought back. It really swept away half of her interest. The human-eating blood-thorn vine king really wanted to just kneel. What did she mean that she hadn't fought enough and that him not fighting back even disappointed her? He wasn't a fool, he also wanted to fight back too. But could he even fight back? Her whole body was covered with a layer of purple gold spirit flame. The moment he touched it, head burn, and the toughness of her body was even comparable to that of a demonic beast, alright? If he fought back, he'd not only not be able to hurt her much, but he'd also pay with himself and be burned as well. It wasn't like he had a brain spasm. Hearing Lu Muyan's words, Bingji looked up at the sky speechlessly and muttered, "Little owner, is it really good for you to be so violent? Bingji, you have an opinion against me?" Although Bingji's voice was soft, but it still fell in Lu Muyan's ears. She narrowed her eyes and said dangerously. It just so happened that she hadn't fought enough and wasn't satisfied. If this stinky bird dared to talk back, then she'd let him transform back into his original form and also abuse him a bit. Bingji immediately put on a flattering smile. "How's that possible? My pure heart for little owner can be reflected by the sun and the moon. And just complimenting that you fought well, fought really well. Little owner just needs to be this violent to make people like you." After he finished speaking, he immediately attracted the contemptuous gazes from Mo Yen and Chi. Such a shameful divine beast that loses face truly was unheard of. Bingji just ignored the two beasts' gaze, as if he wanted to be punished by owner so violently. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes. Bingji really had no moral integrity. She stomped a foot heavily on the area where the head was on the main body of the human-eating blood-thorn vine king and crushed it a few times. "Are you really reconciled or fake reconciled?" Fuck, this damned woman actually trampled on his head, but he didn't dare reveal his feelings verbally. "I'm really reconciled." Be a spirit pet. Well then hell be a spirit pet. At least it was better than being beaten and burned to death. The human-eating blood-thorn vine king was extremely regretful at this time. Had he known early on, then when these people entered his area, he wouldn't take the initiative to attack them. This was really losing one's army on top of losing one's wife. When Lu Muyen saw that he was indeed really scared after being beaten by her, did she retrieve her foot and raised an eyebrow? "I'll sign a contract of equals with you now. We'll be partners from now on. I won't enslave you either, and I'll also help you improve your strength. Of course, if you want to go back on your word, I won't force you either." Then she added. When she contracted spirit pets, she never liked to force them. "Do I dare to go back on my word?" The human-eating blood-thorn vine king had a mouthful of old blood stuck in his chest. If he dared to go back on it, then this little grandaunt would definitely beat him to death. Contract of equals, partner, help him improve his strength. It didn't sound that bad. I'll just pretend he boarded a pirate ship one. Just contract, I'm willing to be your spirit pet. It was just a pity for the life he spent here proclaiming himself king in this land as his. But he had also long wanted to go out and see the outside world. Few humans and demonic beasts came here and there was no fresh blood to provide nourishment. Relying on absorbing spiritual force to cultivate really was just too slow. Originally he thought to wait until he could transform before going out, as he, right now, simply couldn't move out of this area at all. So it was actually good if he was contracted by this woman, as he could escape that monster's control, and he also didn't have to wait hundreds to 1,000 years to transform. Lu Muyen revealed a hint of satisfaction in her eyes. This time she actually profited in coming to Sunset Cloud Mountain Range. Her two hands kept forming seals and she mouthed an obscure spell. Strips of jade-colored runes flew out of her body, wounding around the human-eating blood-thorn vine king. A drop of blood essence fell from her fingertip and dripped onto the top of the other party's head. A warm light circle enveloped the one human and one demon, constantly flowing with colorful, glaze-like colors. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. After a while, the colorful glazed light circle vanished, and there was also a spiritual connection between Lu Muyen and the human-eating blood-thorn vine king. The originally reluctant human-eating blood-thorn vine king's cultivation base, after the contract, suddenly skyrocketed, and the dark golden-colored vines grew numerous main branches again, while the roots returned in his body again. He was completely shocked inwardly. The green fog on this woman could actually allow him to evolve. He instantly soared from initial phase tier 6 to middle phase tier 6 strength. This was the result that he could only obtain after cultivating at least 10 years. Of course, if he absorbed the blood of high-level sword masters and demonic beasts, then he could also advance quickly, but it still wasn't as miraculous as the green fog. Shui pays formal respects to owner. The human-eating blood-thorn vine king was much more sincere at this time. That green fog was a good thing. It might actually be a good choice to follow this woman, and the resistance in his heart also eased a lot. Lu Muyen was also amazed inwardly at the effect of the green sea of fog. Not only could it remove poison, heal wounds, had a repairing function, and nourish the meridian, but it could also promote the advancement of spirit pets? No. There was no such situation when she contracted Mo Yen, Bingji and Miao Miao. Lu Muyan's eyes were as deep as the sea. It seemed that the green fog was only useful for demonic plants, then was it also useful for spiritual herbs? An idea suddenly popped up in her mind. She could try it when she returned. She knew that this kind of advancement was only obvious when contracting. The green sea of fog in her body could help Shui, but it would no longer be as fast and miraculous as it was just now. Shui, can you still turn smaller? Lu Muyan furrowed her brows and looked the human-eating blood thorn vine king up and down. It'd be too flamboyant to release such a figure in the future. The human-eating blood thorn vine king couldn't help but hold his forehead with a vine. Shui, could I not want this name? But he didn't dare to resist, otherwise it was immediate service with flames. Remembering the power of the purple gold spirit flame, he couldn't resist shuddering. Had never forget the burning sensation just now. Now that he was finally repaired by the green fog in that woman, it would be best if he didn't seek death. Owner, I can become the size of your 7-colored parrot. The human-eating blood thorn vine king said respectfully. Only then did Lu Muyan nod with satisfaction. With a thought, the jade-colored rune ribbon that surrounded the human-eating blood thorn vine king entered her body, and the array was also removed. Shui felt that the moment the suppression from the array was dissipated, he could consciously reduce the size of his body to the size of Bingji. You don't have to be so unfamiliar and respectful to me in the future. Lu Muyan looked at Shui seriously and said, in the future we'll be life and death partners. Once the contract of equals took effect, then it couldn't be broken. Their future life and death would be linked together. She regarded all her spirit pets as partners and not spirit pets. Shui's heart tightened and was actually moved by Lu Muyan's sincerity. His guard was lowered a lot. He also found that the contract signed between them didn't have the coercive oppression on the spirit pet from the owner, and instead they were equal to each other, so he also didn't resist being her spirit pet anymore. Either way, the two divine beasts opposite were willing to become her spirit pets, so there was even less of a problem regarding face for a demonic plant like him. Meanwhile, in just a few breaths after Shui was contracted, in a secret room of a large hall in the Thunder Zone, a leaf-shaped golden spar suddenly shattered into several pieces. Seeing this, a demon cultivator hurried to Monarch's resting quarters to report the abnormality. Translated product by May Arkham True 1. Basically, hell, just consider that he joined a criminal organization he can't get out from anymore, usually used to mean that they were dragged into something they didn't want to, so hell, just have go along with it. Colloquial. It's also apparently used as a joke/loving banter between couples, be it married or not. For example, an example I found on Baidu, let's say in a couple, partner 1 and partner 2 is in an argument for something partner 1 did. But partner 2 is angry yet also completely in love and couldn't bear to do anything to partner 1 because of this love, so partner 2 might say, in a helpless manner, I've really boarded your pirate ship, meaning, who could I blame but myself for loving you so deeply and couldn't leave you? He'll just have to go along with everything now, nothing matters anymore. Oh. Also in Chinese it's Zai Chuan. Could be translated to thief ship or ship of thieves. Random note 1. Shui is literally named Blood LO. Bingji is Ice Halberd. Mo Yen is Ink Flame and Miao Miao aka Jean Miao is Golden Vast. The word vast in this case is water-related only. Like vast ocean. Random note 2. X is pronounced like shu, so Shui is like shui said quickly, kinda. The reason why it's not just written as sh is because sh is actually a different pronunciation in Chinese, e.g. Shi Feng Shi is sh. So Xian and Old Man Tian Xian is Shuan, kinda. Also, although Shui clan pinyin is also Shui, it is pronounced slightly differently because of the tones in Chinese. Just imagine different accents of the same English word. And so Ming Xiu is shu kinda, or something like shu. Also Q is pronounced like ch, so Qing and Yi Qing Han is Qing. Once again, it's not written as ch because ch is a different pronunciation, e.g. like in Qi Yi Xian. And zich is kinda, only kinda pronounced like the English ch, with the similarity being that when you say ch your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. Hard to explain. Or listen to Google or something pronounce the words xd. That's at least somewhat accurate, though even the same word can potentially have completely different pronunciations, in different contexts, and even different meanings. Sometimes same meaning but different pronunciations. Example, Shui blood, can also be pronounced as xia blood. How do you know which one to use? You just do. Chapter 163. This monarch wants to speak with you privately in the Thunder Zone's main hall. Thunder Monarch wore a silk, cyan, long robe, leaning lazily on the couch with a glass of wine. The guardian who guarded the demon pavilion hurried in and knelt down anxiously. Monarch, the jade tablet of the human-eating blood-thorn vine king is shattered. Thunder Monarch opened his half-closed eyes, his gaze stern and grim. How did it shatter? The guardian of the demon pavilion's body shook and said, he was contracted by a human. Inside the demon pavilion were the demon soul jade tablets of all the tier 6 demonic beasts in the 3 danger areas in Sunset Cloud Mountain range, and they were also all subject to Thunder Monarch. There were only 2 possible ways for the jade tablets to be broken. One was to be killed, and the other was to be contracted by humans. In this area, there had been no such thing as a tier 6 demonic beast having been contracted by a human for 1,000 years. Who knew that this time, the human-eating blood-thorn vine king that was practically invincible among the tier 6 would be contracted by a human? He was afraid that in a fit of anger Monarch wouldn't even let go of little demons like him. Thunder Monarch shook the wine glass gently, and with a thought, he flicked 2 drops of wine in the glass into the air. Once the demonic energy was poured in, the previous image appeared again. Within the image was all of what happened when Lu Muyen and her party stepped into the area of the golden thorn bushes. Purple gold spirit flame. Thunder Monarch's thin lips parted lightly. He moved his gaze to the 7-colored parrot and the palm-sized fire cloud mink. His calm eyes revealed a rare hint of surprise, Spirit Devourer and Cyan Luan's descendant. Who knew that our little interface even has such divine beasts? The 3 danger areas had long been controlled by Thunder Monarch, so all the auras of the humans or demonic beasts that entered couldn't escape the detection of his demonic sense. There was a ray of light in his dark eyes and the hand holding the cup tightened. That woman could just be an opportunity. Monarch, should we catch and bring those human sword masters here? The burly man standing below asked. He was the captain of Thunder Monarch's bodyguards. Seeing Thunder Monarch's expression change constantly, something that hadn't appeared in hundreds of years, he took a step forward, half-knelt, and asked for instructions. Thunder Monarch raised his eyes and scanned the purple-clothed woman in the image, then said leisurely after a while, "No need, this monarch will go in person." After speaking in a flash, he disappeared from the large hall. Golden Thorn Bush area. Lu Muyen was in a very good mood after subduing Shui. When she saw the Golden Eagle King standing with Mo Yen not far away, she was taken aback. She walked over and asked, "You're Qing Han's spirit pet?" This Golden Eagle King exuded the bloodline aura of Yi Qing Han. She could use the ancient contract skill, that's why she could feel it. A hint of surprise flashed in Kai's eyes. This woman was indeed extraordinary. "Yes. Owner asked me to take you back." "Let's go then." Lu Muyen nodded, then said to the human-eating blood-thorn vine king, "Shui Shui, call back the human-eating blood-thorn vines besieging my friends." "Yes, owner." With a thought in Shui's demonic consciousness, all the human-eating blood-thorn vines that were besieging Yi Qing Han and the others burrowed into the ground and returned to his original body. Seeing that the human-eating blood-thorn vines that were attacking the fire cover had instantly disappeared without a trace, Mu Yi sat on the ground wearily and poured out pills to recover. I guess Lu Muyen already killed the human-eating blood-thorn vine king controlling behind the scenes. "Should be," Yi Qing Han said, looking not far away. Not long after, the few people saw the black-brown golden eagle soaring in midair towards them, and sitting on his back was precisely Lu Muyen. "Muyen, are you all right?" Yi Qing Han stepped forward and asked with concern as soon as Lu Muyen touched the ground. Lu Muyen nodded with a smile. "No problem." Shi Feng raised his head with some worry in his eyes. "The human-eating blood-thorn vine king's dead?" "No, but he won't appear to harm us again," Lu Muyen said with a light smile. Although she was good friends with Mu Yi and Shi Feng, but they hadn't yet reached the point where they could trust each other in life and death. They could only be regarded as friends, and her best friend was only Yi Qing Han, so she didn't mention the matter of subduing the human-eating blood-thorn vine king. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. As for Yi Qing Han, she didn't want to hide it from him, and she believed that she would tell him when they returned. Shi Feng and Mu Yi weren't talkative people either. After hearing her say that, they also relaxed and didn't ask any more questions. "Let's go. Let's sweep up a few tier 5 demonic beasts and return." Lu Muyen just felt that it wasn't appropriate to stay here for a long time. The others had also recovered quite a bit of elemental energy, so they stood up to leave with her. But after only walking a few steps, Shui's exclamation sounded in Lu Muyen's sea of consciousness. "Owner, that monster from the Thunder Zone's here." Lu Muyen felt a little tremble in Shui's voice, and she realized that he was exceptionally afraid of whatever that monster from the Thunder Zone was. Then her eyes were filled with gravity. A demonic beast that could make Shui so fearful could only be the legendary Tier 9 one. But she had not yet even thought of any countermeasures when a dense pressure locked onto this space and the several people couldn't help but almost kneel on the ground. Lu Muyan's face turned pale. While facing this pressure, a thought actually formed in her mind, that she couldn't fight against it. This was precisely the insurmountable gap between cultivation bases. Even if she could fight across stages, but she was still powerless in the face of a powerhouse 2 or even more stages higher. What's this? Shi Feng looked emotionlessly in the distance not far away, but his legs were slightly trembling. He tried his best not to kneel and submit. The legendary Tier 9 demonic beast. Yi Qinghan's expression turned grim. He dealt with demonic beasts the most here. The only thing that could make him feel powerless to fight against, with lingering fear as if they were enveloped by death, was probably only that Tier 9 demonic beast. Despair rose in the hearts of the few. Could today really be the day they would truly fall here? Lu Muyan also had a rare look of gloom in her eyes, but she didn't feel helpless. She had lived 2 lives, she wouldn't fear death. The pressure grew denser, and a cyan shadow suddenly appeared in front of the several people. His body was covered in a layer of mist and his face couldn't be seen clearly. His figure was tall, and the temperament of a king was undoubtedly revealed. Lu Muyan and the others couldn't see through his level of cultivation at all. They only felt a surge of suppression, making them unable to breathe. Is there something you need, Your Excellency? Lu Muyan's eyes didn't have much turbulence and her voice was calm. She could feel that there wasn't any killing intent from this high-level demonic beast. So the purpose of his sudden arrival could be deliberated. Thunder Monarch's lips curled into an arc. This woman sure was very courageous. Being able to still remain so calm and composed when facing him, he couldn't help but feel a sense of appreciation rise in his heart. You broke into this monarch's area without authorization. Don't you need to give this monarch an explanation? Little owner, don't listen to this monster. The Thunder Zone is his domain and this is my territory. Shui shouted. He was both afraid and hateful of Thunder Monarch. Lu Muyan's lips twitched. What your territory? If he wanted to kill you, wasn't it like crushing a grasshopper? What do you want us to explain, senior? Yi Qinghan tuffed his head and asked. He couldn't let Lu Muyan come forward to deal with this. In the face of such a dangerous powerhouse, a man was needed. Ling Fei Yang and the others also showed the same thought, looking deeply at the mysterious man who appeared. Monarch Ming ignored Yi Qinghan's question and looked straight at Lu Muyan. This monarch wants to speak with you privately. Translated product by Mayar Come True. Chapter 164. First collect some interest. This monarch wants to speak with you privately. Upon hearing Thunder Monarch's request, Yi Qinghan and the others were startled. They anxiously wanted to stop him, but Lu Muyan waved her hand to stop them. All right. Lu Muyan looked up at Thunder Monarch and said lightly. The strength of this Tier 9 demonic beast could sweep away countless kingdoms and clans just by going out. How could they be able to resist him here? Thunder Monarch was more satisfied with Lu Muyan's straightforwardness. He gently waved his sleeves and the one human, one demon disappeared from here. He came for Lu Muyan. Shi Feng knitted his brows tightly. Ling Fei Yang's hand on the wheelchair clenched so tightly that it turned white. Yenner will be fine. That Tier 9 demon cultivator had no killing intent. But he didn't know what he wanted with Lu Muyan, so he couldn't help but worry. The several people here were very worried, while Lu Muyan stood in a large hall after swaying for a bit. Thunder Monarch walked straight to his throne and his face was still unclear. He picked up the glass of wine on the table beside him, took a sip and didn't speak. Lu Muyan wasn't in a hurry either. There were no other chairs in the large hall except for the throne, so she just stood there quietly, her eyes cold. After quite a while, Thunder Monarch said, You're quite bold. Aren't you scared this monarch will kill you all? Your strength is much higher than us. It's just a matter of tapping your finger if you wanted to kill us. Since we can't resist, then why be afraid? It's just a waste of energy. Lu Muyan replied calmly and composedly. Do you know why this monarch wants to see you privately? Lu Muyan felt that it definitely wasn't simple for this demonic beast to find her, so she concealed the strange color in her eyes. Is it for the human-eating blood thorn vine king? Ha! This monarch wouldn't put a mere Tier 6 demonic beast at heart. Thunder Monarch's gaze remained indifferent. Just directly speak your purpose. Lu Muyan couldn't think of what this demon cultivator's plans were, so she went straight to the point. This monarch will ask you a few questions. If you answer truthfully, then your lives will be spared. Thunder Monarch's voice grew colder, with a hint of threatening. Of course, if you deliberately deceive this monarch, Then you and your companions will remain here and be the nourishment for the demonic plants in the back garden. Lu Muyen narrowed her eyes and an indescribable emotion emerged spontaneously. This was the gap in strength. In the face of level suppression she could only yield. In her heart, the improvement of strength grew even more urgent. She must become the ultimate powerhouse on this continent. Just ask. What's the skill you used to contract the human-eating bloodthorn vine king? This monarch sees that it's different from the beast-taming skill of Tianling continent. Thunder Monarch played with the wineglass and asked casually. Lu Muyen didn't conceal it either. Ancient contract skill, based on equality contracts. How is it equal? Thunder Monarch continued to ask. Lu Muyen wondered why this demon cared about this, but her face was calm and didn't show it. After the contract is formed, the relationship between me and my spirit pet is that of an equal partnership. I can't force them to do anything they don't want to do, and it's also impossible to take the lives of spirit pets like other beast-taming skills can. And the most important thing is that once the contracts of other beast-taming skills are successful, when the owner dies the spirit pet will also definitely die. But the ancient contract skill I use is different. If the owner dies the spirit pet wouldn't die. Hearing that the other party's breathing wasn't as steady as before, Lu Muyan's lips curled, saying with a smile. However, the contracted spirit pet must not have the slightest thought of betrayal, let alone the idea of killing their owner. Otherwise it will suffer severe punishment from the laws of space, making them feel as if dying was better than living, and they would never be able to turn their situation over. Can the owner take the initiative to cancel such a contract? Thunder Monarch asked in a heavy tone. Can't. I found and cultivated this ancient contract skill in an ancient cultivator's cave. There's only the method of contract, but there's no method to terminate the contract. Lu Muyen shook her head. Thunder Monarch fell silent for a while before continuing to speak. What if your contracted spirit pet doesn't want to be by your side? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, I've always disliked forcing people, same with spirit pets. If they don't want to be with me, although I can't cancel the contract, but I want force and restrain their freedom. Lu Muyan's voice was clear and ethereal, but with a hint of willful uninhibitedness. She would use both hard and soft tactics, but if she still couldn't keep the spirit pet she contracted by her side, then it was she who was incompetent, so naturally she wouldn't restrain their freedom. How many demonic beasts can you contract with the ancient contract skill? Thunder Monarch asked while rubbing the wine glass. Lu Muyen cursed Thunder Monarch again and again in her heart. He really was abnormal, like the human-eating bloodthorn vine king said. Who knew what the use of inquiring about this was? 10 contracts can be made. She didn't say that, in fact the contract had no upper limit, and instead said a reserved number. Thunder Monarch nodded slightly, paused, then asked, I heard that you human cultivators will have a grand event for the whole continent soon? Yes. In another 2 months, there'll be a continental tournament for hegemony on Tianling continent. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes inwardly. This demon definitely asked while knowing the answer. You're participating? Thunder Monarch's tone was affirmative. Lu Muyen nodded, participating. Very good. Thunder Monarch took a sip of the wine from the cup and his voice was cold and mellow. This monarch needs help from you. After it is done, the benefits will definitely exceed your imagination. Lu Muyen chuckled lightly. What if it can't be done? The help wanted by a tier 9 demonic beast definitely wouldn't be simple. Naturally there's only a dead end. Thunder Monarch said decisively. Lu Muyen's expression didn't change, and her eyes showed an expression of as expected. But right now she was under the control of others and couldn't get away for the time being. Help with what? Now isn't the time for you to know. When you actually have the life to survive until you see this monarch again in the tournament for hegemony, then you will naturally know. Thunder Monarch obviously looked as if he didn't want to talk too much. Lu Muyen wasn't annoyed either. Sure. I promise you. The more challenging something was, the more she liked to do it. But she noted down the several threats from Thunder Monarch today. When she had the opportunity she would definitely repay him a bit. I didn't expect that, although you aren't that old, but you're quite bold. This is the first time this monarch has felt appreciation for a person of the human race. Thunder Monarch chuckled deeply. Then thank you for your appreciation. Lu Muyen replied lightly. What did you all want to do, coming to the 3 danger areas of Sunset Cloud Mountain Range? Thunder Monarch asked. Lu Muyen's bright eyes gleamed. She raised her head and said, came in to contract a few tier 5 demonic beasts as spirit pets. Since you want me to do something for you, why don't you give me some interest first? Bing Ji and Shui, who stood on her shoulders, rolled their eyes at the same time. Did their owner have to be so arrogant? She even dared to ask for interest in front of such a high-level demonic beast. Truly, it made them worship her so much. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes were also dyed with a smile. This woman really had a temperament that wouldn't allow herself to suffer any losses wherever she went. Thunder Monarch was stunned for a moment, then burst out laughing. This human woman was indeed really interesting. Being here for so many years, this was the first time anyone dared to ask him for interest. Speak. Gift a few peak-phase tier 5 demonic beasts to me. Lu Muyen said exorbitantly, I believe that with your cultivation base and vision, this request should be considered a drizzle, right? Such a request is indeed nothing. Sure, this monarch agrees. Thunder Monarch didn't hesitate. You also shouldn't remain here any longer. Hurry back and improve your strength to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. After speaking, he didn't wait for Lu Muyen to answer, and with a wave of his sleeve, she and the few people in the golden thorn bushes were sent out of the 3 danger areas. After Lu Muyen disappeared in the large hall, he poured a glass of wine and there was a rare smile on his stern face. Little girl, after 2 months, I hope you can remain alive to see this monarch come true. Chapter 165. Guess Lu Muyen was sent by Thunder Monarch to outside the foggy forest. As soon as she stabilized herself, 8 peak-phase tier 5 demonic beasts with their demonic energy bound fell to her side. She looked around and found that there weren't any auras of Yi Qinghan and the others, and also knew that Thunder Monarch didn't want her to be exposed. She walked in front of the several demonic beasts, quickly formed seals and inserted a different type of contract skill within the ancient contract skill into the body of the demonic beasts. The jade-colored talisman seals entered the bodies of the 8 demonic beasts one after the other, forming a seal in the Yaofu. As long as it was under the influence of her mental energy, others could be recognized as owner. After the contract was completed, she put all the 8 demonic beasts into the spirit beast ring. Mo Yin, can you find out where Qinghan and the others are? Lu Muyen also put Shui into the spirit beast ring. He was also one of her life-saving skills and couldn't be exposed. Mo Yen looked towards the east and said, over there. It'll take nearly 2 hours to get there. Lu Muyen nodded, then used flash steps to move in that direction. She didn't want to go there so early, and by arriving 2 hours later she could also bring out 2 demonic beasts, saying that she caught it along the way. Owner, what does the Tier 9 demon cultivator want you to help with? I don't think it'll be that simple. Bing Jie's tone carried some rare cautiousness. Lu Muyen smiled and said, well, know when the time comes. Didn't you hear him keep emphasizing that he hopes for me to stay alive to see him? Just what's his purpose? Mo Yan's eyes darkened. Did you all discover a problem? Lu Muyen asked. What problem? Mo Yen and Bing Ji asked at the same time. He was constantly asking me about my ancient contract skill, and he emphasized the continental tournament for hegemony. That is, what he asked me to help with must have something to do with the tournament for hegemony. Lu Muyen said. The 2 demons reviewed the conversation between Thunder Monarch and Lu Muyen and found the same problem. Mo Yen said, indeed, he said last that he hoped you would be alive to see him in the tournament for hegemony and asked you not to delay and to hurry back to improve your strength for the tournament. His goal is definitely for the tournament for hegemony. Why is a Tier 9 demon cultivator going for the humans' continental tournament for hegemony? After Bing Ji began to follow Lu Muyen, he also knew of Tianling Continent's tournament for hegemony, so he was very puzzled by the demon cultivator's purpose. Could it be that he wants to destroy the humans' prosperous age? Probably not. Lu Muyen shook her head. Don't overthink it. Well, know when the time comes. She didn't think that Thunder Monarch had such a noble sentiment that he would fight against the human race for the sake of the demon race. From the fact that he gifted her Tier 5 demonic beasts as interest, she knew that Demon Cultivator's personality was extremely indifferent. She just had a feeling that the Tier 9 Demon Cultivator was not only going for the tournament for hegemony, but also had a deep connection with the tournament. Our top priority right now is to improve our strength. Lu Muyen's eyes revealed firmness. Bing Ji, you can't be lazy when we return. Today's events had affected her deeply. It felt very awful to be threatened by high-level powerhouses. If she wanted to break free from such a situation, then she must make herself infinitely stronger, and as such, could also be able to protect her family. I know, owner. Bing Ji nodded. Since meeting that Tier 9 demon cultivator, he also didn't dare to be complacent and conservative anymore. For the first time, a sense of crisis was born in his heart. 2 hours later, Lu Muyen rushed to a dense forest. Feng and the others sat cross-legged under a big tree to recover. After discovering a foreign aura and realized it was Lu Muyan's, the several people opened their eyes and looked at her with a little excitement. Muyan, are you fine? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, I'm fine. I've made you all worry. Lu Muyan could see that although the several people were recovering, but the worried looks couldn't be concealed. That Tier 9 demon cultivator didn't make things difficult for you, right? Yi Qinghan asked in concern. No, just asked me about the human-eating blood-thorn vine king. Lu Muyan didn't want to tell the few people about her agreement with Thunder Monarch, but he doesn't allow us to stay in the 3 danger areas anymore, so he sent us all out. Yi Qinghan and the others nodded with varying expressions, knowing that things were definitely not that simple, but they understood to not ask any more questions. Let's go back to Luoxi City. Lu Muyan wanted to remove Yi Qinglu and Ling Fei Yang's poison and quickly return to the Lu clan as soon as possible to prepare for the continental tournament for hegemony. Hearing the tone of that Tier 9 demon cultivator, the continental tournament for hegemony wasn't that simple, and there were also life-threatening worries. She should at least do some more preparations. Alright. The matter of catching demonic beasts at Sunset Cloud Mountain Range was already impossible now, and they also wanted to return to Luoxi City as soon as possible. It only took the few people half a day to return to Luoxi City on Bingji. Originally, Mu Yi and Feng didn't plan to stay after visiting, but Lu Muyan's treatment could be observed, so they didn't leave immediately either. At night, Lu Muyan called for Yunlan and Ling Fei Yang telepathically. The two of them coincidentally went to the courtyard where Lu Muyan resided together. Yenner, you want us for something? Yunlan asked after sitting down. Lu Muyan took out a box of spiritual tea from Yizhan and brewed it. Indeed, there's something. Seeing that both of them looked at her with puzzled eyes, Lu Muyan filled their cups with the brewed spiritual tea, and with a snap of her fingers, a white light flashed. The soundproof spiritual proof array that had already been arranged in the room early on activated. With a thought, 2 demonic beasts at peak phase Tier 5 strength that had been marked by a contract seal appeared in the room. Most of the late phase Tier 5 demonic beasts could all change their size, so the 2 demonic beasts both became the size of ordinary tigers according to Lu Muyan's request. Yenner, are these 2 Tier 5 demonic beasts contracted by you? Yunlan asked, dumbfounded, looking at the demonic beasts on the floor. Ling Fei Yang's indifferent eyes also revealed some shock. Although he knew that Lu Muyan was a spirit beast master, but he was still unaccustomed to it after personally seeing her release peak phase Tier 5 demonic beasts. That Tier 9 demon cultivator left me in another place in the foggy forest. When I came, I caught 3 Tier 5 demonic beasts along the way to contract. Lu Muyan pointed to the 2 demonic beasts whose attributes were very compatible with the 2 and said, Elder cousin brothers, please choose one with the same attribute and drip a drop of blood to contract. This? Ling Fei Yang thought a bit, then said, you can bring the one you wanted to give me back and give it to Mu Bai or Mu Ting to contract. Yunlan also felt that he owed Lu Muyan a lot. When there's another chance in the future you can help me contract. You can bring these 2 back to the Lu clan. Lu Muyan praised the character of the 2 in her heart. In the face of such temptation, although they desired it, but they were still able to remain clear-headed, they were worthy for her to raise. Elder cousin brothers don't believe in my ability that much? Lu Muyan smiled brightly and said, since I can catch these 2 Tier 5 demonic beasts to contract, then I'll naturally be able to find more suitable spirit pets for my elder brothers in the future. The attributes of these 2 demonic beasts are very compatible with the 2 of you. Hurry up and make a contract, otherwise they'll be angry. Ling Fei Yang and Yunlan exchanged a glance and found that Lu Muyan wasn't joking. There was warmth in their eyes, and the 2 were no longer quarrelsome. They stepped up and chose a demonic beast each to drip a drop of blood and contract. Chapter 166. Arrange an array to lift the blood curse early the next morning. After Lu Muyan applied acupuncture on Yi Qinglu and went back to her room to rest for 2 hours, she started to prepare the materials needed to break the blood curse in Ling Fei Yang's body. Muyan, what are you looking for? It'll help you find it. Yi Qinghan saw that Lu Muyan was about to go out, so he stepped forward to ask. Lu Muyan originally didn't want to trouble Yi Qinghan again, but seeing the anticipation in those obsidian-like eyes, she thought about it, then gave him a list, then I'll trouble Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took the list and scanned it once, saying, I can find all these things. Muyan, you go back to your room to rest first and I'll come to you when I find everything. Alright. Lu Muyan sighed when Yi Qinghan walked away quickly with the list in hand. Yi Qinghan's kindness towards her, she remembered it all. But she was unable to reciprocate the feelings other than that of friendship. But suddenly drifting apart would also cause misunderstandings. She could only take one step at a time and see what happens. After chatting with Yi Qinglu and Wuxia, Lu Muyan returned to her room and started to meditate. At night, she took out some of the blood-thorn sacks obtained from the human-eating blood-thorn vine king. After obtaining Yi Chen's approval, she took the water from the spiritual spring on the mountain behind the Yi clan and began to brew spiritual wine. After regrouping at Sunset Cloud Mountain Range, Shi Feng and the others gave Lu Muyan some of the human-eating blood-thorn vines they obtained. In order to not expose that she had already contracted shui, she thought about it and decided to take it, prepared to brew spiritual wine with it, then gift it. A day later, Yi Qinghan returned with the things that Lu Muyan needed. She discovered that there was a remote yard in the Yi clan where the sun was very strong every day. It was uncomfortable for people to live in it, so it was used to store miscellaneous things. She needed this kind of strong sunlight to lift the blood curse from the devil cultivator, so she borrowed the courtyard from the Yi clan. After hearing that she was going to start to lift the blood curse on Ling Fei Yang, and after obtaining her permission, Shi Feng and the others came to observe from a distance. Even Yi Qin and Yi Zhan coincidentally came at the same time. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang, go sit in the circle I drew and don't step outside the circle no matter what happens. Lu Muyan pointed to a circle drawn with cinnabar in the middle of the yard. Ling Fei Yang had a warm smile on his handsome and elegant face. All right. After speaking, he went straight to the circle and sat cross-legged. Lu Muyan took out the 4 jade sculptures of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird and black tortoise, placing them in the 4 positions of east, west, south and north. Everyone watched her put down the jade sculptures, then she measured her steps with a serious expression, and placed a copper coin on the ground every few steps. Is she setting up an array? Yi Chen asked Yi Zhan. Yi Zhan kept his eyes fixed on Lu Muyan's movements. Yes, but I've never seen such an array. Isn't this girl's talent too strong? Yi Chen's complexion changed and he couldn't help but sigh. Array masters were even rarer on Tianling continent than alchemists, smiths and spirit beast masters. They not only needed talent, but also needed to comprehend elemental energy of the 3 attributes of fire, wood and metal. The secret manuals to do with arrays were rarely circulated in public, and the array methods outside were generally foundation texts. Some were also incomplete. It wasn't difficult to learn by oneself, but it was exceptionally difficult to achieve success. Indeed. Alchemist, spirit beast master, array master. This girl's talent is probably unmatched even by those super geniuses in the northern and southern regions. Yi Zhan also revealed admiration in his eyes. This girl would show people a new side of her every time they met. Yi Chen took a sip from his teacup and said after a while, not only that, but it also showed that this girl had comprehended 3 attributes of elemental energy. The color blue is made out of indigo but is more vivid than indigo. I've currently only comprehended 3 kinds of elemental energy at late phase sword monarch cultivation base. She hasn't even reached the age of 18. The eastern region will only be her starting point in the future. Yi Chen's eyes darkened and he added, what's so good about staying in the eastern region? I don't approve of Qinghan inheriting the Yi clan. I hope he can also join a sect after the continental tournament for hegemony. Yi Zhan wasn't pleased. He was very opposed to the idea of the Yi clan's superiors wanting Yi Qinghan to inherit the Yi clan in the future. With Yi Qinghan's talents, if he didn't go to the northern and southern regions to pave a way for himself, then it was a pity. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Yi Chen nodded. Qinghan inheriting the Yi clan is just the last resort of the ancestors. If he can enter one of the 6 major sects through the tournament for hegemony and become an outer core pupil, then the clan naturally won't hold him back. If there's no accident, he will. Eldest brother should look for someone else who is suitable to inherit the Yi clan's head of family in the future. Yi Zhan's implication was that Yi Chen could start looking for an heir and train them. If Yi Qinghan couldn't make it to the top 100 in the continental tournament for hegemony this time and had no fate with the sects, he would still bring him to travel the continent and find opportunities for development. He'll think about it, Yi Chen said. About an hour later, Lu Muyan finished arranging the 4 symbols unification array, walked to the center of the array and sat cross-legged. She took out a black array flag from her interspatial ring. This was a soul-suppressing flag she refined, specifically used to absorb and refine evil spirits, and it could also be used as a flag for arrays. She exhaled a breath of essence from her mouth to mobilize the array flag. Then the array flag was controlled by her and landed above the array in mid-air. She kept forming seals with both hands and chanted an obscure spell as usual. Taoist seals flew out of her hands and penetrated into the 4 jade sculptures one after the other. Strips of jade-colored talismans connected the 4 jade sculptures, and instantly brilliant rays of lights flourished and the copper coins on the ground also trembled slightly. "Quick!" she whispered, and the jade-colored talisman ribbons flew out from the 4 jade sculptures one by one and entered Ling Fei Yang's body. Time passed bit by bit. Everyone just saw strips of jade-colored talismans enter and exit Ling Fei Yang's body. Each time it exited, a trace of black aura would be entangled with it. As soon as the black aura appeared, the array flag above the array could ceaselessly spin and absorb it all. Ling Fei Yang's body trembled countless times as if spasming in pain. Evil spirits would even appear in his mind to lure him out of the circle. He quickly recited the scriptures, his heart calmed bit by bit, and he persevered through willpower. Pu. After an entire day and night passed, Ling Fei Yang suddenly opened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of black blood. The black blood squirmed a few times. Lu Muyan intertwined her hands and formed a seal. Her eyes sharpened and her red lips slightly parted. Collect! The array flag above the array lit up brilliantly, and a big hand condensed from elemental energy reached out and stretched towards the black blood on the ground. After a while, the big hand slowly pulled back out from the black blood and everyone saw that it was grabbing the souls of several evil spirits, forcefully tearing and dragging them back into the array flag. As soon as those evil spirits were pulled out, they wailed like ghosts and howled like wolves, but no one sympathized with them. They only all hoped to eliminate them as soon as possible. The moment the evil spirits entered the array flag, the pile of black blood on the ground gradually turned red and faded, then finally disappeared. Ling Fei Yang's complexion also gradually turned from pale to rosy, and the blood curse that had trapped him for the few years was finally lifted. Lu Muyan collected all the evil spirits into the array flag, and with a wave of her hand the array flag landed in her palm. The blood curse had been lifted. She put away the magic tools used to arrange the array with one by one, then stood up with a pale complexion and said, "I'm a little tired, so I'll go back to rest first. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang, after you return, remember to adjust your body and rest for 3 days." "All right." Yenner, hurry back and go rest. Seeing her stunning little face turn pale, Ling Fei Yang said in concern. Lu Muyan was indeed really tired. So she greeted everyone and went back to her room to rest. 3 days later, Lu Muyan walked out of her room and Yi Chen had long been waiting outside for a while. "Lu girl, our Yi clan's ancestors want to see you. Come true." Chapter 167. No losses at all. "Lu girl, our Yi clan's ancestors want to see you." Hearing Yi Chen's words, Lu Muyan's expression didn't change. She nodded with a light smile. "Then I will trouble Uncle Yi." Yi Chen brought her to a hidden courtyard and teleported using a teleportation array in a secret room. Lu Muyan was a little curious about the secret area of the Yi clan. They actually needed to use a teleportation array. If it wasn't because it was too far away, then it was too secretive. Yi Chen placed 2 spiritual stones on the teleportation array, and as soon as the teleportation array lit up, the 2 disappeared in the secret room. When Lu Muyan walked out of the teleportation array, she found a stream of spiritual force waft into her nostrils. This was the place with the densest spiritual force she had ever seen here. "There's still a way to go, let's walk over." Yi Chen saw that Lu Muyan's eyes were still indifferent. He revealed an amiable smile on his face and he thought higher of her. Lu Muyan just happened to want to inquire about something from Yi Chen. "All right. By the way, what kind of spar was that rock that Uncle Yi placed in the teleportation array?" She had always suspected that there were spiritual stones on Tianling continent, but she had never seen it before. Just now, when she saw Yi Chen use 2 low-quality spiritual stones to activate the teleportation array, she was able to guess that spiritual stones were probably only used between high-level powerhouses or distinguished clans as currencies of transaction. "That's a spiritual stone which is necessary to activate the teleportation array," Yi Chen said with a smile. "The spiritual stones contain spiritual energy, which can not only be used for teleportation and forming arrays, but it could also be used to absorb by oneself and is a currency for transactions. The only people who have spiritual stones in Yanzhou Kingdom are those in the imperial family, and they're mostly used for teleportation. It's normal that you haven't seen them before. So that's how it is. Then is it that the currency used for transactions between high-level powerhouses also spiritual stones? Crystal card is useless?" Lu Muyan asked with a smile. Yi Chen's eyes were filled with admiration. This girl was indeed bright. She only just heard that spiritual stones were a trading currency and already thought that it was used among high-level powerhouses. Indeed. The powerhouses above Sword Sovereign basically don't use crystal cards to trade. If they don't trade item for item, then they exchange things with spiritual stones. If you see such spiritual stones in the future, remember to collect them. It's very useful. Yi Chen thought a bit, then took out a low-quality spiritual stone and handed it to Lu Muyen. Lu Muyen took it and felt that the spiritual force contained within was similar to that of the immortal cultivation world. She returned it with a smile. Thank you Uncle Yi for reminding me, I've remembered. Yi Chen didn't take it. I'll gift this spiritual stone to you. It'll be good for you to compare with in the future. Lu Muyen wasn't quarrelsome either, so she accepted the spiritual stone and thanked again. She could see that the spiritual stone was also a very precious thing in the Yi clan. By the way, the spiritual stone has the 5 attributes of metal, wood, water, fire and earth. The color is also similar to the attribute. For example, the red spiritual stone given to you just now has the fire attribute. Yi Chen reminded. The two walked and chatted and after a while they arrived at a quiet woods. Following the woods upwards, Lu Muyen saw a small lake in the distance, and the lake was filled with a layer of mist. There was a hint of surprise in Lu Muyen's eyes. This Yi clan was truly worthy of being ranked 3rd in the 10 distinguished clans, and also as the most mysterious clan. There was even a lake that was formed from a spiritual spring's mouth of a spring. Following a small bridge, the two walked to the innermost bamboo house in the center of the lake. Ancestor, I have brought the Lu clan's little girl. Yi Chen said respectfully while standing outside the bamboo house. The door of the bamboo house opened automatically after he said it. Come in. Lu Muyen followed Yi Chen into the wooden house and saw an elderly male and elderly female sitting on the side. This junior greets 2 seniors. Lu Muyen performed a greeting of juniors. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. The elderly woman sitting cross-legged on the right slowly opened her eyes and glanced at her quietly. Lu Muyen felt an oncoming pressure from the elderly woman, but there was no killing aura nor any suppression, only a test. She mobilized her entire Buddhist spiritual energy, smiling faintly and not moving a single bit. Oh. The elderly woman whispered. This little girl with the strength of a sword king indeed had some ability. Although her pressure didn't have any suppressive killing intent, but it wasn't something that any ordinary sword master could resist without feeling flustered. Lu clan's little girl, sit. The white-bearded elderly man who sat on the left revealed a slight smile. Lu Muyen wasn't restrained either. She saw that there were indeed a few wooden chairs next to the two of them in the wooden house, so she found one at random to sit down on. Yi Chen's eyes showed some satisfaction, and he also picked a chair and sat down. This little girl's manner was indeed rare. She wasn't startled by great waves and was calm and collected as ever. If she really became his daughter-in-law in the future, that wasn't that bad. Lu girl, I heard that Qingles poison has been cured by you for the most part? The elderly man who sat above said. Lu Muyen answered truthfully, it's true that most of the poison has been removed, and it could be completely removed in another half a month. It is truly rare for one to have such medical skills at such a young age. The Lu clan is fortunate. Senior praises with exaggeration. Lu Muyen smiled modestly. Lu Muyen quietly waited for what the elderly man wanted to say next with a faint smile. She knew that the 2 ancestors of the Yi clan definitely didn't meet her today for Yi Qingles situation. Not arrogant nor impetuous, a good temperament. The elderly woman who hadn't spoken suddenly said with a hint of liking in her tone. The white-bearded old man nodded in agreement and no longer kept her guessing, smiling as he said, Lu girl, this old man won't go around in circles anymore with you. Do you still have marrow cleansing pills? Lu Muyen's eyes were light, but she thought as expected inwardly, yes. I wonder if you can sell a few to our Yi clan? The white-bearded elderly man asked. Whether the efficacy of the marrow cleansing pill was as miraculous as in the legends, they naturally knew best. After all, Yi Qinghan's meridians had been more than doubled by the marrow cleansing pill. Using this kind of pill to raise several talented juniors was definitely a significant matter for the Yi clan. The strength of each clan was actually not about how big it was and how rich its assets were. The key point actually depended on the number of high-level powerhouses. If the clan was big and had a big business but there were no high-level powerhouses, then they'd inevitably embark on the road of elimination. Although I don't have many marrow cleansing pills on hand right now, but am on friendly terms with Qing Han and Qing Lu. I can take out 3 to trade to the Yi clan. Lu Muyen thought a bit and said. The two ancestors glanced at each other and sighed that this girl indeed knew how to be a good person. She previously gave Yi Qing Han and Yi Qing Lu a marrow cleansing pill each and didn't ask for any benefits. Now she took out 3 more again. They couldn't help but be moved. After the last application of acupuncture, Lu Muyan gave Yi Qing Lu a marrow cleansing pill to wash the marrow and cleanse the body. The superiors of the clan all knew about this and were shocked by her generosity. Only after guessing that she didn't just have 1 marrow cleansing pill left, did the Yi clan's ancestors open their mouth, wanting to exchange for a few. Little girl is very straightforward, so our Yi clan naturally can't let you suffer. Do you want to exchange purple gold coins, or do you want to exchange using items? The white-bearded old man touched his beard and looked loving. Lu Muyan had long guessed the purpose of why the Yi clan's ancestors sought for her. She originally had an exchange list thought of, but now she had changed her mind. Senior, this junior likes to study arrays and heard that many high-level arrays required spiritual stones to complete. I wonder if I can request for spiritual stones in exchange for my marrow cleansing pills? Lu Muyan appeared as if young and unexperienced, asking with a little embarrassment. Yi Qin couldn't resist twitching the corners of his lips. It seemed that the person who told her of this was himself, right? Was this himself cheating himself? This girl really didn't let herself suffer any losses, learning and applying it pragmatically, no losses at all. After all, spiritual stones were rare. Chapter 168. Was there an end or not? Hearing that Lu Muyan wanted to trade with spiritual stones, the two ancestors of the Yi clan were surprised. Little girl, do you also know the path of the arrays? The white-bearded elderly man asked, half believing, half disbelieving. The path of the array and restrictions weren't so easy to learn. In the entire Tianling continent, all the high-level array masters could be counted on 2 hands. Even low-middle level array masters were people strongly vied for by major forces. From this, one could see just how scarce array masters were. Without any talent and strong comprehension abilities, it definitely wasn't possible to become one. This Lu clan's little girl was already an alchemist at such a young age, could also tame beasts, and now she even understood arrays. Wasn't this a little too exaggerated? Hearing such news, the shock was too great, and they had never seen it in action before, so they couldn't help but have some doubts. I know a little bit. Lu Muyan nodded with a smile. My master once taught me the surface of things. Well, to the master who I don't even know where you are, please excuse me, I'll use your name again. The two from the Yi clan was stunned for a bit, then quickly understood. It seemed that the respected master behind the Lu clan's little girl was a remarkable person. Little girl, I wonder who your respected master is? Could you reveal a little? The white-bearded old man asked curiously, then added after a pause, of course, if it is inconvenient, then you don't have to say. Everyone had their own secrets. If the Lu clan's girl didn't want to reveal the identity of her respected master, then they naturally wouldn't force her. My respected master is Old Man Tian Xian. Lu Muyan was already prepared to use this name to deal with all those who questioned who her respected master was. And she didn't lie either. Old Man Tian Xian was her master in the previous life. It was just that the name that she casually spoke made the pupils of the 2 Yi clan elders constrict, and the elderly woman almost cried out. Lu girl, you actually could have Old Man Tian Xian as your master. Truly what a great fortuitous encounter. The white-bearded old man's expression changed and said with a smile. Lu Muyan also discovered that the two was a little weird. Her eyelid couldn't help but jump. Could it be that there was also an Old Man Tian Xian on Tianling continent? Senior knows my master? Lu Muyan asked tentatively with a smile. The face of the white-bearded old man changed again, and he said with a dry laugh, how could this old man know such a powerhouse? Lu Muyan blinked her eyes and now thought inwardly that she was doomed. How could it be that a name she randomly pulled out be the same name as someone else? And it seemed that this person wasn't a trivial person either. So it turns out that my master is this famous. Lu Muyan continued in an attempt to gain more information. Your respected master is very low profile and is also a peerless powerhouse. He hadn't shown his face for hundreds of years. Who knew that you would have such a fortuitous encounter to be under him? There was a hint of envy in the white-bearded old man's tone. Lu Muyan suddenly felt her head pound. Peerless powerhouse? Although her master was indeed a peerless powerhouse in the spiritual world, but this was Tianling continent. That old man already became a wandering immortal, and definitely couldn't have also transmigrated onto this continent. Then there was only one possibility, that was the same name. However, the old man Tianxian here hadn't appeared for hundreds of years, so she would just use his name temporarily. In the future, it was best to not raise the question of who her respected master was. So that's the case. In fact, I've also only met my respected master once. He taught me some things, then went to wander around. Lu Muyen sighed. Inwardly, she sure hoped that they didn't ask her to help make connections or anything. She herself didn't even know who this old man Tianxian here was either. Sure enough, she caught a serious, obscure flash of disappointment in the eyes of the Tu Yi clan's ancestors. She was glad that she was clever and blocked their mouths beforehand. Then you have to study hard, especially on the path of the arrays. After all, your respected master is one of the strongest array masters on Tianling continent. The white-bearded old man had a look of reverence in his eyes. There were very few sword masters in the eastern region who knew that old man Tianxian existed, and there was Lu Muyan's talent to consider, especially the fact that she understood the path of the arrays, which was very consistent with the Almighty's most powerful aspect. So it didn't make the Yi clan's ancestors doubt her words. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, this junior will. Lu Muyan smiled modestly. Her expression didn't change, but her heart was turned upside down. This old man Tianxian was actually one of the strongest array masters on Tianling continent? Her master in the spiritual world was an alchemy master, and he hadn't even studied arrays as thoroughly as herself. It seemed that they indeed weren't the same person. But if she had a chance, she really needed to go and exchange pointers with this old man Tianxian on the path of the arrays. Senior, then what do you think about the exchange conditions this junior mentioned just now? Lu Muyan asked with a smile. That was practically all the news she wanted to inquire about. If she asked any more, she might expose herself, so it was better to change the subject as soon as possible. The white-bearded elderly man and the elderly woman looked at each other, then he looked at Lu Muyan with a more loving expression and said, "You are a friend of Qing Han and Qing Lu. We can still satisfy this exchange requirement, but we wonder how many spiritual stones you want? This junior doesn't have a number in mind either. How about senior decide?" Lu Muyan smiled without concern, refreshing and generous. But she cursed old fox inwardly. How could she list the price? Seeing how Yi Chen was twitching his lips just now, she knew that the Yi clan wouldn't have a lot of spiritual stones either. If she couldn't resist and asked for an exorbitant amount, she was even afraid that they wouldn't be able to afford it. Now that she turned the tables by placing the responsibility on him, she didn't believe that this old man wouldn't feel embarrassed if he gave too little. Plus the name of her fake master. Today she definitely would make a profit in this business. The white-bearded elderly man had a smile on his face, but he was bleeding inwardly. This girl could ask for anything, yet why did she have to want spiritual stones? However, they'd appear too stingy if they didn't give it to her. How about 300 spiritual stones? Lu Muyan rolled her eyes inwardly. 300 low-quality spiritual stones? Was he trying to send away a beggar? But after seeing Yi Chen's distressed appearance, she could guess that 300 was already the limit for the Yi clan to exchange with. However much senior says is however much. Lu Muyan replied humbly. She comforted herself inwardly. 300 low-quality spiritual stones was actually not that bad at all. It was better than having purple gold coins that were practically useless. If the three of them knew she was still dissatisfied with the amount, they'd definitely vomit blood. The total amount of spiritual stones in their Yi clan was only around 20,000 pieces, and the daily consumption on arrays was already huge. These were all spiritual stones that were exchanged from going to larger regions and helping contract spirit pets. Being able to take out 300 to trade for the marrow cleansing pill wasn't just because they wanted to befriend Lu Muyan, but it was also because they feared the old man Tianxian behind her. By the way, I think seniors already know that I have an ice swan spirit pet. He very much likes to eat the belly beads of the Jiangchuan Lin fish, so I wonder if the Yi clan still has any collected? This junior wants to exchange for some. Lu Muyan expressed a very obedient and agreeable look. Those beads were a good thing. Not only were they useful to Bing Ji, but also extremely useful to her. Bing Ji stood on Lu Muyan's shoulder. When he heard her say that, he was even touched by her. Little owner really was so kind. The belly bead of the Jiangchuan Lin fish? The white-bearded old man secretly observed that the eyes of the seven-colored parrot, transformed from the ice luan, lit up after hearing about the belly bead, and his expression also became excited, so he believed her words. There are still some in the clan's inner storehouse. He'll let Yi Chen deliver it to you later. The white-bearded old man said without hesitation. Lu Muyan said with a smile, then this junior will use some herbs in exchange. No need. The Jiangchuan Lin fish's belly beads aren't worth much, so we'll gift you all of it. The white-bearded old man waved his hand and said generously. There was indeed a trace of water spiritual force in those belly beads of the Jiangchuan Lin fish, but they and other clans hadn't been able to find a way to refine and absorb them even after researching for many years. It was fine to use those to form a better relationship. Then thank you, senior. Lu Muyan's face revealed a senior, you really are very generous expression, which made the white-bearded old man smile even more. Junior still wants to trade for something else. I wonder if senior is willing to give it up? Lu Muyan asked, taking the opportunity to strike while the iron was hot, with a hint of embarrassment on her face. The white-bearded old man's smile froze. Even Yi Chen's lips couldn't help but twitch again. Was there an end or not for this girl? Chapter 169. What about your demeanor of a transcendent being? Junior still wants to trade for something. I wonder if senior is willing to give it up? The two ancestors of the Yi clan and Yi Chen didn't know what else she wanted to trade for, and they were also a little curious. I wonder what little Lu girl wants to trade? The white-bearded old man asked as he touched his long beard. Lu Muyan's eyes gleamed brightly and said with a smile, I want to trade for the spiritual spring water in the depths of the mouth of the spring beneath this spiritual lake. Hearing her words, the expressions of the three people in the house changed. The girl came here for the first time but actually discovered the mouth of the spring beneath the spiritual lake. I wonder what you want the spiritual spring water in the depths of the mouth of the spring for? The elderly woman asked before the white-bearded old man. Used to brew spiritual wine. Lu Muyan didn't conceal it either. If she didn't talk about the spiritual wine, then she probably wouldn't be able to obtain the spiritual spring water. A surprised expression appeared on the face of the white-bearded old man. Brew spiritual wine? You can? Lu Muyan smiled lightly. Master once tossed me a secret manual for brewing wine. I studied it myself for a while and have already brewed a few pots with the blood sac of the human-eating bloodthorn vine, and it doesn't taste too bad. According to the records in the secret manual, if it is brewed with the spiritual water in the depths of the spiritual spring's mouth of the spring, then the spiritual wine brewed would be even richer, more mellow, sweeter and more refreshing, and the effect of improving one's skills will also be better. She added. The white-bearded old man couldn't help holding his forehead. This girl really was a freak. How was she able to do anything? This talent was a little too heaven-defying. No wonder it was said that after a person with terminal meridian's constitution had recovered from it, their talent would be exceptionally abnormal and monstrous. Now it seemed that they were indeed very abnormal and monstrous. Take out the blood sac wine you made and let us have a taste. If it does indeed taste really good, then this old man will trade with you. When it came to wine, the white-bearded old man was filled with energy. One must know that the limited amount of spiritual wine of Stream Reflection Restaurant every month was all booked by him. Lu Muyan took out a white jade wine jug and 3 white jade cups. After filling them, she gave it to the 3 of them to drink. The liquid in the white jade wine cup was transparent and cherry red, so clear one could see the bottom. The moment the wine was poured into the cup, its rich and mellow aroma wafted into their nose, causing the white-bearded old man to swallow irresistibly. Yi Chen and the elderly woman took a sip from the wine cup, and they couldn't help revealing pleasant surprise in their eyes. The white-bearded old man deeply smelled the aroma of the wine in the cup and drank it in one mouthful. Then he smacked his lips with an expression of reflecting on its aftertaste. He slapped his thigh. Good wine. Then, like a gust of wind, he swiftly arrived before Lu Muyan, took the wine jug from her hand, and returned to his original position to drink one cup after another. His appearance of drinking with abandon made Yi Chen twitch uncontrollably and his heart was bleeding. My ancestors, can you leave some for us? After the elderly woman finished the spiritual wine in her cup and saw the white-bearded old man being so reckless, she couldn't help furrowing her brows. Old man, save some. Save what? The white-bearded old man turned the white jade jug upside down and the last 2 drops of wine dripped down. He said as if his flesh hurt, how come it's gone after only a few drinks? The corner of Lu Muyan's lips twitched slightly. What about your demeanor of a transcendent being? He was just a whole old alcoholic now. Lu girl, didn't you say that you brewed a few jugs of blood sac wine? Oh, you should at least pay some respects with presents to me, this old man, after coming to the Yi clan. The white-bearded old man rubbed his hands vulgarly, saying with a smile. This was the sweetest and most fragrant spiritual wine he had ever drank, and it was many times purer in taste than the spiritual wine that came out from the Stream Reflection Restaurant that those fussy people brewed to specifically whet one's appetite. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. She really was worthy to be that one's disciple. Not to mention all the other talents. Just based on the talent of winemaking, she'd definitely be able to eat all the tasty food and strong drinks she wanted out there. There was absolutely no worry that she wouldn't be able to survive out there, and there'd definitely be numerous people who would want to curry favor with her. As expected, his family's Han boy has good eyesight. He already brought the little girl back to see his parents so quickly. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. If Lu Muyen knew what the old man was thinking, she'd definitely snatch the jug over and not let him drink a single drop. She was obviously here to treat people all right. When the elderly woman heard his words, she suddenly felt that, not to mention losing face, she also completely lost everything inside her. Old man, don't see spiritual wine and become abnormal, you'll scare the little girl. The white-bearded old man laughed dryly, then said, isn't it just because I saw delicious wine, so I didn't control myself the best? After speaking, he stared at Lu Muyen with glowing eyes. Lu Muyen didn't take his behavior and go along with it, instead saying with a light smile, Senior, how about I exchange this blood-sack wine for the spiritual spring? Exchanged. The white-bearded old man made a direct decision, then his eyes rolled around in thought and said, but this time you have to give me a few more jugs of blood-sack wine and also send a few jugs of fine wine brewed from the spiritual spring in the future. As long as you don't empty the spiritual spring in the depths of the mouth of the spring, you can take as you like. Yi Chen was utterly speechless, looking up at the sky. My ancestor, ah. That was the spring water essence that the Yi clan's spiritual spring's mouth of the spring nurtured for thousands of years. Could you not be so prodigal? The elderly woman also shook her head helplessly. As soon as this damned old man saw wine had become a nut job. Although she also felt pained inwardly, but they couldn't go back on what the old man had said. All right then, that's a promise. Lu Muyan's grape-like bright black eyes flashed with brilliant colors. The spring water in the depths of the Yi clan's mouth of the spring was the essence of thousands of years. It was definitely effective for brewing blood-sack wine and other types of spiritual wine. Fortunately, this old man was addicted to alcohol, otherwise it would have definitely been difficult to exchange for the spiritual spring. In the end, Lu Muyen gave all 6 jugs of blood-sack wine to the old man, then jumped into the depths of the spiritual lake's mouth of the spring herself and began to collect spring water. Of course, although she had the ability to take all the essence of the spiritual spring, but she didn't do it. She still understood the principle of knowing when it was enough. But she still took away about half of the spring water so that when the white-bearded old man sobered up eventually after drinking wine, he thumped his chest and stamped his feet all day long, extremely pained in his heart. From time to time he would even urge Yi Qinghan to quickly take Lu Muyen in as his wife. Rich water shouldn't flow to others' fields too. It annoyed Yi Qinghan so much he directly went into closed-door cultivation. Lu Muyen stayed at the Yi clan another half a month, and after completely detoxifying Yi Qinglu and Ling Fei Yang, she bid farewell and prepared to return to the Lu clan. Elder sister Muyen, why don't you just cultivate at the Yi clan, then go to the continental tournament for hegemony with elder brother? Yi Qinglu hugged Lu Muyen's arm, reluctant to let her leave. He'll go ask ancestors to let you use the secret area to cultivate. The spiritual force there is very abundant. Yi Chen felt helpless. Why did this girl's elbows turn the wrong way? Could just anyone go into the secret area to cultivate in it? Of course, if the Lu girl brought 2 jugs of spiritual wine to visit ancestor, then she could definitely remain in the secret area to cultivate. There are no feasts in this world where guests do not depart for. I still have things to do when I go back to the Lu clan, so I really can't remain here any longer. Besides, we'll probably meet again very soon. Lu Muyen patted Yi Qinglu's head and said softly. Yi Qinghan also wanted Lu Muyen to stay for a while longer, but he knew that she was very eager to return to the Lu clan. Qinglu, there are still more opportunities to meet in the future. Don't pester your elder sister Muyen anymore. Then elder sister Muyen, you have to take care and come visit me often when you have time. Yi Qinglu said with a pursed mouth. Lu Muyen scraped her nose and said with a smile, don't worry, I'll visit you when I'm free. Afterwards she exchanged a few words with Shi Feng and Mu Yi, then rode on Bingji and left Luoxi City, heading towards the imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom. Together with her were also Yun Lan and Ling Fei Yang. Translated product by May Our Come True. One to bring someone back to meet parents in China is basically to say to the parents, this person will be my wife/husband to be. LOL. And LMAO, the ancestor already thinking of her as their future Han boy's wife. Haha. 2 Basically good things shouldn't be given to others. 3 If your elbow turns the wrong way, you're helping outsiders instead of family or friends etc. For all good things must come to an end. Chapter 170, Who said this young miss was dead? The imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom. The news that Lu Muyan had fallen in the glacial mountain range was widely spread by those who schemed. In addition, she hadn't appeared for more than a month, so the entire Yanzhou Kingdom thought that she was already dead. Many of the Lu clan's political enemies were secretly watching a joke. However, it was just that in the more than a month, the Lu clan hadn't hung any white silk, nor announced Lu Muyan's death, which made them all feel that the Lu clan was just deceiving themselves. The Lu clan's father and son constantly had a gloomy expression every time they went to the imperial court. Whoever they pointed to, the person would immediately be shelled. Wasn't this precisely the reaction of having lost a granddaughter/daughter? On this day, the martial hall of the empire's imperial palace was filled with officials, together with some pupils from distinguished clans and some students from the Empire Academy. Today was a very important day. The list of entries for the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony was announced today. The younger generation of pupils were all bright-eyed. Even if they couldn't participate, they were very much looking forward to such a grand event. The students who participated in the Glacial Mountain Range trials were all looking forward to it. If they could represent Yanzhou Kingdom to participate in the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, it would not only place light on their clan's face, but their opportunities would also be infinite. As an emperor, Yun Tianqin naturally wanted to express his compliments and encouragements first. The Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony is held every 20 years. In another 2 months, the tournament will begin. This time, our Yanzhou Kingdom has obtained 6 entry quotas. These, Yun Tianqin said a bunch, then finally said, "Now, let the imperial teacher announce the 6 participants for the Continental Tournament for Hegemony." Imperial teacher Yun Tsang stood up in the main position with a serious face, and didn't say any nonsense either, directly announcing the list of participants. The participants of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony this time are Yun Zmo, Yun Lan, Fu Qin, Lu Mu Bai, Qi Xian and Lu Muyan. Wow! Everyone present was stunned. The first 5 people participating in the tournament for Hegemony, they felt that it was deserving, but what was this about Lu Muyan? How could a dead person participate in a tournament? What's more, even if she wasn't dead yet, wasn't she trash? She shouldn't even be qualified to participate in such a grand event, right? Imperial teacher, isn't Lu Muyan dead? Why is her name on the list of participants? An official took a step out at Gu Yenkai's signal. Except, before Yun Tsang even spoke, a strong palm of wind swept in from the hall's gate and slapped the official straight on the face. Pa! Before anyone could figure out the situation, a clear and pleasant female voice sounded. Who said this young miss was dead? A dog can't spit out ivory too, you deserve a beating. Immediately, they saw a light purple-clothed, peerlessly beautiful and otherworldly Lu Muyan walk into the martial hall with Yun Lan. You're presumptuous. The official who was slapped by Lu Muyan covered his face as he stood up and pointed to her while glaring. Lu Muyan sneered, "If you don't put away your claws, then this young miss will break it." During this period of time, the Lu clan had always kept a low profile and these damn things often provoked them, especially this Gu Yuankai's dog who would bark from time to time. She didn't mind being arrogant and trash him. "You wildly arrogant child." The official originally wanted to point at Lu Muyan and curse her, but after being swept over by her cold and stern gaze, he withdrew his hand unconsciously. With resentment in his eyes, he knelt down in front of Yun Tianqin and burst into tears on the spot. "Your Majesty." This old official was slapped in public by an ignorant little girl, losing all face. This old official won't live anymore. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, then just go die. Lu Muyan said slovenly. The official who was still complaining tearfully chocked for a moment, then howled again, "Rebelling, she's also rebelling." But his words only just fell when Lu Zhantian twisted his collar and threw him out the hall, too loud. The behavior of the two made everyone here unable to resist wiping their sweat and sigh inwardly. The behavior of the grandfather and granddaughter was a bit too domineering and arrogant. "Your Majesty, how can Lu Muyan's arrogant and domineering behavior qualify to participate in the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony? What if she provoked people who shouldn't be provoked and bring infinite trouble to the empire?" A sly smile flashed by Gu Yuankai's lips as he stood up respectfully to persuade Yun Tianqin. Hearing his words, many people's minds also began thinking. Lu Muyan indeed offended people too easily, and if they were able to pull her down the horse then maybe their own pupils could obtain an entry position, so they all agreed. Gu Yuankai's chubby face maintained a smile, but his eyes were cold and grim. The Lu clan's girl actually came back alive. He absolutely couldn't let her participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. Lu Muyan didn't hide the ridicule on her lips, and merely just looked around at the people in the higher positions. If they defended Gu Yuankai, then don't expect her to take out anything good to subsidize. The reason why she was so arrogant today was actually to test the imperial family. She was going to participate in the Tianling Continent's tournament for hegemony soon, so she sure didn't want to help an empire that couldn't protect her family. Yun Tianqin naturally also saw Lu Muyan's expression of ridicule and his heart skipped a beat. This girl's temper sure was big. But such arrogance and domineering were better than the insidious cunning of Gu Yuankai's entire family. Jin is not responsible for selecting the list of participants. If you have any questions, go ask Imperial Teacher. Yun Tianqin smiled gently and immediately pushed the matter out. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes. This paternal uncle-in-law really was a slippery head, but as an emperor, him stepping forth was indeed not better than the Imperial Teacher coming forward. Lu Muyan is a participant personally listed by Imperial Ancestor. If you have any objections, go to the Imperial Pavilion Hall. Yun Tsang sneered, and his gaze swept over the few people who had hopped out and was jumping about, noting them down. He naturally knew that Imperial noble concubine Gu secretly poisoned Emperor and he abhorred them bitterly. If it weren't that they had some reasons to keep them alive, then the Imperial family probably would have long searched and confiscated the Gu clan's property. Yet they still dared to take the lead in causing trouble. They truly were vermin of the Empire. No one expected Lu Muyan to actually be a person chosen specifically by the Imperial Ancestor. The faces of those who jumped about changed a few times and they didn't dare to make a sound anymore. Gu Yuankai's eyes were filled with gloom, but he didn't say much more. The Ancestor was a very ruthless person who wouldn't allow anyone to refute him. If they ruined their whole plan simply for this girl Lu Muyan, then the loss outweighed the gains. But even if they didn't dare to object again, there were a lot of people who were unwilling to accept Lu Muyan, especially the younger generation who didn't obtain a place. Many felt that Lu Muyan had only obtained this place by relying on her family background, and they were terribly sour about it. Lu Muyan took all these people's gazes in, then said leisurely, "I know that some people refuse to accept that I was selected to participate in the Tianling Continent tournament for hegemony, and I don't want the Lu clan to be gossiped about, so right now, I accept any challenge from those who satisfy the requirements to participate in the tournament for hegemony. Whoever wins me, then my place will be yours." She wanted a just and honorable place and didn't want the Lu clan to be slandered after she left. Wow. This little girl from the Lu clan really was too arrogant. This was the feeling that many people had at this time. But those who watched the show naturally hoped that it would continue to develop in such a way. While the people who were friends with the Lu clan kept signaling with their eyes to Lu Zhantian and Lu Imoyu, "Wasn't your family's girl a bit too stupid? Her place was already set, so what was she doing accepting challenges?" Lu Zhantian revealed gratification in his eyes and laughed loudly, "Good. As expected of my granddaughter. Yenner, beat all those who have poor eyesight flat to the ground, just don't toy them to death." The crowd was in utter chaos from the Storm 3. At this time they also understood why Lu Muyan was so bold and arrogant, so it turned out that it was all learnt from her grandfather. Translated product by May Arkham. True. One more colloquial, meaning that someone is bombarded with curses or criticisms or anything negative. Usually used comedically. To an idiom. So basically, a filthy mouth can't utter decent language. Or what do you expect from a dog but bark? They wouldn't be able to produce expensive ivory. 3 more colloquial saying, meaning they were so shocked and confused by the development it was like a storm had passed through and everyone is disoriented. Chapter 171. Obtaining the entry place justly and honorably. Yun Tianchen furrowed his brows slightly, and sighed inwardly that the little girl was too swayed by personal feelings. Many of those pupils in the younger generation had hidden their strengths, but their age was a little on the older side, so they weren't selected to participate in the Glacial Mountain Range trial. After all, although the age of the participants for the competition couldn't exceed 30 based on the rules, but if one exceeded 25, then there wasn't much potential to raise. It would be a pity if Lu girl really lost her place because of this. Yun Song just happened to be the opposite. Not only did he not show concern, but his eyes were filled with appreciation and said to Yun Tianqin, "Lu girl made an excellent choice. Talking with your fists is the ultimate rule. The Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony is a gathering of talented people from various distinguished clans and kingdoms. If Lu Girl wants to compete with those people for the top 100, but she couldn't even defeat the younger generation of Yanzhou Kingdom, then it was fine not to go. Yun Tsang saw Yun Tianchen's worry, so he added. Yun Tianchen thought about it and realized it was also this principle. As her paternal uncle-in-law, he naturally hoped this girl could advance into the top 100. Lu Muyan, are your words serious? A pupil of a small clan stood up and looked at her, asking. This person appeared 27 or 8, middle-phase sword king strength and was filled with fighting spirit. Since there was such an opportunity, who didn't want to fight for it? Lu Muyan nodded. Naturally they're serious. How about you start the challenge? After she finished speaking, she tapped her toes and flew onto a battle platform set up in the martial hall, looking as if she was saying welcome to challenge. Then please forgive this one for any offense. The person also jumped onto the platform, cupped his fists, then drew his long sword and attacked Lu Muyan. Lu Muyan didn't take out any weapons. She spread out her palm and scorching fire lotuses floated out from her palms one by one. The temperature in the entire martial hall rose continuously. The moment the man's sword aura touched the fire lotus, it melted. The last fire lotus petals scattered and fell into the person's body instantly. The person half knelt on the ground and screamed. Several fire lotuses flew out and lifted his body, tossing him out of the battle platform. In just 2 rounds, Lu Muyan easily defeated a middle-phase sword king sword master, making the people present not dare to underestimate her. Of course, her strength was indeed good in the eyes of others, but this still couldn't convince everyone. People continued to challenge one by one, hopping onto the platform. If they didn't personally try to fight for the place, they all wouldn't feel convinced. It was just that even when the last person went up to challenge, Lu Muyan still wasn't forced to use a weapon. She only used elemental energy condensation and defeated all the challengers. All the challengers didn't last more than 5 rounds each with her, including a few sword masters at peak phase sword king strength. After Lu Muyan finished the battle with more than 20 people, she still appeared relaxed and looked at the people below, hugging her arms carelessly and indolently. Are there still any who wants to challenge? If there's no more who wants to challenge, then I'll leave now. Guyuan Kai's face was grim, but all the pupils on the side of his clan had been sent and they still couldn't win Lu Muyan. Those that were over 30 years old weren't qualified to challenge either, so he could only grit his teeth secretly, plotting how to get rid of her. Lu Muyan obtained her place after passing the Glacial Mountain Range trial to begin with. Since there's no one to challenge her now, then the 6 entries will be set. The Imperial Master saw that many of the younger generation below had a bitter expression and knew that they were reconciled. Seeing that no one had any more objections, Yun Song continued, the 6 of you should try your best to improve your strength in the next 2 months. No one is allowed to disturb. If anyone doesn't have eyes and goes to provoke again, they will be punished with treason. After he finished speaking, he deliberately glanced at Guyuan Kai. Guyuan Kai secretly hated within. This old damn thing, just wait until after their plan was launched. He would definitely let them all die without a place to be buried. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. After Lu Muyan's entry was confirmed, she greeted Yun Tianchen and Ruan Li, then went home with Lu grandfather. Girl, have you cured Yi clan's little girl and Fei Yang's illness? After returning to the Lu clan, Lu Zhantian asked Lu Muyan as soon as he sat down. Lu Muyan raised an eyebrow, raised her chin and said proudly, only of course. Just look at whose granddaughter she is. You stinky girl. I praise you a little and you become smug. Grandfather rolled his eyes at her, but he couldn't hide the smile on his face. Well, didn't I learn all this from you, my respected grandpa? Lu Muyan said with a smile. Elder cousin brother Fei Yang also came back with me. Where's he? Lu Zhantian also liked Ling Fei Yang very much. He went to visit an old friend and will come home later. As soon as she came back, she heard that the list of participants for the Tianling Continent Tournament for Hegemony was announced today, so she hurried over. The people in charge of the Lu clan were all in the palace, so Ling Fei Yang went to the imperial capital to visit some old friends first. Bring him to see me after he returns. Is Yenner going into seclusion? Lu Mo had a refined smile on his face. Lu Muyan thought for a bit, then said, Dad, has the private army of 100 people been selected? We've already selected 200 people long ago, just waiting for you to choose. Lu Mo said with a smile. Then take me to pick them out now. I still need to go to the palace to take a few alchemists from the imperial family here. After refining a batch of pills, prepare to go into seclusion. Lu Muyen stood up and said, "All right." Then Lu Muyen selected 100 private troops to be specially raised out of the 200 people that was chosen by her dad, while the remaining 100's natural endowments also seemed pretty good, so she also had Lu Mou secretly raise them a bit. Then she went to the palace to pick up 2 grade 1 alchemists and 1 grade 2 alchemist, brought them to the Lu clan, and directly got them to refine pills. Only after the few people were able to refine the pills she taught them did she exit the pill refining room. Her time was also very precious right now. After seeing Hua Xiao for a bit, she entered into the Lu clan's secret room and began her seclusion. She first brewed a lot of spiritual wine using the spiritual spring and the blood sacs, and only after did she start cultivating. The main purpose of the seclusion this time was to comprehend the water attribute law. She took out the belly beads of the Jiangchuan Lin fish that she obtained from the Yi clan, then held one in her hand to feel it. "Bing Ji, teach me the secret method." Lu Muyen found that there was no way to absorb the essence of water in the belly bead herself, so she still had to use Bing Ji's secret method. Bing Ji had long been thinking about the belly beads Lu Muyen had, so after teaching her the secret method, he laughed a few times. "Little owner, can you also leave some for me?" He didn't dare to threaten Lu Muyen with the secret method. Every time he thought of the appearance of the human-eating blood-thorn vine king when he was madly beaten by little owner, he would have lingering fears. It was still more practical to use the strategy of currying favor with. Lu Muyen knocked his head with a knuckle, grabbed a handful of belly beads and tossed it aside. "You want have none? Do I look that stingy? How's that possible? Little owner is the most generous and straightforward. If anyone dares to say that you're stingy, he'll be the first to beat them." Bing Ji picked up a belly bead and swallowed it, saying with a flattering smile. Mo Yen felt that he was unable to look directly at him, so he turned around, jumped towards a corner, and began to cultivate alone. While Lu Muyen rose her strength, they couldn't relax either. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at Bing Ji, sycophant. After she finished speaking, she picked up a belly bead again and started refining it using Bing Ji's secret method. Sure enough, the sliver of blue water essence in the bead was sucked into her body little by little and circulated in her dantian. Come true. Chapter 172. Refine Natal Magic Tool. A month passed in a hurry. Lu Muyen, who was in seclusion in the secret room the entire time, opened her black, star-like eyes. Looking at the belly beads that had been refined in front of her, an arc rose on her lips. Bing Ji's secret method indeed was useful. After refining hundreds of belly beads, a few more traces of blue gaseous substances appeared in her dantian in her body, hidden within the green sea of fog. She also comprehended the water elemental law to a new height. Although she couldn't use it as freely as the fire element, but she could also achieve the condensation state. "Aren't you going to refine your natal magic tool?" Mo Yen asked lightly when he saw Lu Muyen open her eyes. He had heard Lu Muyen say that she competed for the heavenly frost golden crystal to use to refine her natal magic tool, but it had been so long and he still hadn't seen her do it, so he was very puzzled. Didn't her chances increase if she refined her natal magic tool before going to the continental tournament for hegemony? In this month, with the help of Lu Muyen's pills, he also advanced to Tier 6, completely suppressing Bing Ji. Lu Muyen sighed and shook her head. "The heavenly frost golden crystal is just one of the main materials. I want to refine a 9-attribute natal magic weapon, so I can't make it easily." 9 attributes? Surprise flashed across Mo Yan's eyes. Bing Ji, who was currently cultivating, also opened his eyes and looked at Lu Muyen. There were also magic tools with 9 attributes in this world? A 9-attribute natal magic tool of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, ice, darkness. Lu Muyen smiled. The heavenly frost golden crystal is the metal attribute material, so the refined magic tool would only contain the metal attribute. What are you going to do with a 9-attribute natal magic tool? Don't tell me you can use it? A brightness rose in Mo Yan's deep eyes. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, "That's only of course. Otherwise, have I gone senseless and silly after eating too much to refine a 9-attribute natal magic tool?" Bing Ji was completely stunned. Have 9 attributes? Were his ears all right? Mo Yan's black pupils constricted, asking for the first time ever in a tone of disbelief, "You can comprehend 9 types of elemental energy attributes in this world?" Wrong. Lu Muyen shook her finger. Seeing the 2 spirit pets staring at her intensely, she slowly said, "I can comprehend all attributes of elemental energy in this world." What? Mo Yen and Bing Ji exclaimed at the same time, how was that possible? In fact, Lu Muyen was also surprised when she first realized that she could comprehend all attributes of elemental energy in this world. When she was in the immortal cultivation world, she was a fire attribute heavenly spiritual root, and the one she comprehended the deepest was also the fire attribute, so her current talent was indeed considered heaven-defying. It sure is the first time I've heard that someone could comprehend all the attributes in this world. Mo Yen didn't doubt what Lu Muyen said. He understood this woman and she wouldn't bother to lie. Bing Ji also nodded. Me too. Owner, you're too abnormal and monstrous. I'm just telling you guys, but you're not allowed to leak it out. Lu Muyen looked at Bing Ji when she said this. This stinky bird's mouth was the loosest. Bing Ji rolled his eyes. Little owner, I'm very clear about what I can say and what I shouldn't say. Don't be so distrustful of me. All right. I'll trust you this once. If you dare tell anyone, I'll pluck out all your feathers. In reality, Lu Muyen knew that Bing Ji generally wouldn't go out and randomly spread the secret, but she couldn't resist warning him. If high-level powerhouses found out that she had such talent, if she wasn't caught and taken to raise, then she'd be assassinated. It represented great inconvenience and she was afraid of inconvenience the most. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Until when will you be able to gather the 9 materials of different attributes and refine your natal magic tool? Mo Yen said disapprovingly, don't forget that you're going to participate in the Continental Tournament for Hegemony soon, which is a gathering place for geniuses. You lose an advantage without a magic tool. I've considered everything you've thought of. It's not as if I'm not prepared to refine it. It's just that for the magic tool I want to refine, I naturally have to choose the best. This 9-attribute magic tool can be refined separately, then each can also be combined to use. Lu Muyen paused, then continued, the heavenly frost golden crystal is the main material, but I still need 2 auxiliary materials. I've already asked the people from the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to help find it, and there should be news these few days. You'll begin refining after you obtain the 2 auxiliary materials? Mo Yen actually wanted to see just how this woman refined tools. Although he often listened to her explain to Hua Xiao, but he had never seen her perform it herself. That's of course. Let's go to the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance to have a look. Lu Muyen stood up, the 2 spirit pets leapt onto her shoulders, then she headed out. After going to the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, she happened to meet Elder Yi, and as expected from the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance, that was the largest and most powerful chamber of commerce on the continent. It took only 1 month to find the 2 very rare spars she wanted. After Lu Muyen paid the bill, she took all the refining materials and rode on Bing Ji to the blazing mountain range. The volcano where she and Ming Xiu met last time was very rich in geothermal heat, and it was just right to assist in refining. This time she also brought Hua Xiao. Master, your Tier 6 Ice Luan Mount really is so cool. Hua Xiao sat on Bing Ji with a bit of envy and pride in his eyes. His little master was just awesome. Lu Muyen chuckled, don't worry. In the future, Master, I will also help you subdue a cool flying mount for you to play with. Master, you're truly so kind to me. Hua Xiao just began to flatter her when he was stopped by Lu Muyen. We've arrived, she said, pointing to the mountain range ahead. Right now, every day, her ears would suffer great torment from Bing Ji and Hua Xiao's flattering. It truly was enough. After entering the very bottom layer of the volcano, Lu Muyen stopped by a magma river with the highest temperature. She took out all the materials she wanted to refine and prepared to refine her natal magic tool. Master, do you need me to help with anything? Hua Xiao had an expression filled with excitement. He could finally watch little master in action. Lu Muyen waved her hand dismissively. No need. This time I brought you here mainly for you to watch. You just need to be quiet. Yes, I definitely won't disturb little master. Lu Muyen nodded, then after adjusting herself to her peak condition, she picked up the spars on the ground piece by piece, holding them in her hands. Then a cluster of gorgeous purple gold flames emerged from her palm. This is actually spirit flame. Hua Xiao stared at the purple gold flame in Lu Muyen's hand without blinking and couldn't help but exclaim. Lu Muyen raised her head and glanced at him. Shut up, don't make a fuss. It was the biggest taboo to be distracted while refining. Yes. I promise not to speak again. Hua Xiao hurriedly covered his mouth. With a thought, Lu Muyen's purple gold flame quickly wrapped the orange-colored spar that was in her hand, then refined it little by little. Then Lu Muyen placed the refined liquid into a container that had been prepared long ago and continued to refine the second spar. As the geothermal heat here was very intense, the spar liquid she had refined wouldn't re-solidify. Time passed bit by bit. Lu Muyen continuously refined the spars placed on the ground. Only when the last piece of heavenly frost golden essence was refined, did she stop her movements and rest quietly. After adjusting her bodice condition to its peak state, her eyes sharpened, and she began to prepare to congeal. Chapter 173, Teleport to the Assembly Point 10 days later. Within the magma river before Lu Muyen, there were 10 little golden-colored swords like thin wings lined up in a row, gradually congealing within the magma that tumbled again and again. When the 10 little swords let out a humming sound, Lu Muyen's eyes filled with joy. After imprinting a few Taoist seals, she said one word, "Collect." As soon as her words fell, the little swords in the magma river flew up one by one, merging in midair, and finally condensing into a thin and sharp longsword, carrying a pressure that only a divine weapon would possess. With a shoo, it landed in Lu Muyen's hands. Lu Muyen held the longsword without inserting any elemental energy. She just swung it hard at a rock in the distance with some strength, and a golden sword aura spontaneously burst out, instantly splitting the flame rock that was as hard as iron into countless fragments. Wuxia swallowed his saliva. Since the first day when Lu Muyen began to refine her natal magic tool, he had been completely immersed in her world of refining, and it was also the first time he had seen a magic tool that could be refined without a cauldron, only using spirit flame. Of course, although Lu Muyen used the natural underground heat source as a cauldron, but her refining technique was very unique and novel. Each process was simply perfectly outstanding, allowing him to benefit greatly. It could even be said that the golden-colored longsword in Lu Muyen's hand was the best magic tool he had ever seen. "Master, this longsword of yours has probably surpassed the spirit treasure already and has become a saint tool, right?" Wuxia felt the natural pressure on the longsword and asked. Magic tools were divided into spirit tools, spirit treasures, saint treasures, divine tools, and divine treasures. Saint tools were magic tools that were even crazily contended for by high-level powerhouses on this continent, so one could well imagine how precious it was. About right, but the magic tool I refine can be upgraded and nurtured as my cultivation base increases. Lu Muyen caressed the long sword in her hand with satisfaction. What? Can magic tools also be upgraded? Wuxiao asked in disbelief. Lu Muyen said with a smile, "It's just that you're ill-informed. When you become a grade 4, grade 5 smith, then you'll naturally be able to come into contact with these things." She dared to be certain that Tianling continent also had magic tools that could be upgraded, but it was just that Wuxiao hadn't come across it. "That's true. I'll go out for a wander when I have the opportunity." Ever since following Lu Muyen, Wuxiao's vision had also broadened a lot, and he no longer only wanted to be the most powerful smith in the eastern region. Instead, he wanted to become a renowned smith on the entire Tianling continent. Lu Muyen patted his shoulder and said, "You have good talent. You'll definitely soar into the sky one day." This point she still believed. "Thank you, Master, for your teachings." Towards Lu Muyen, Wuxiao respected and was grateful from the bottom of his heart. If it were another master, it was simply impossible that they would let him watch them refine their natal magic tool. Lu Muyen not only let him observe and attempt to fathom it, but also gave some explanations during critical moments when refining the weapon, which helped him learn a lot of tricks. "Alright, don't be emotional now." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow. "When you go back, use the methods I taught you and practice more. The magic tools for the 100 people of the private army will be left to you. You must at least refine a low-grade spirit tool." "Yes. He'll definitely finish refining it all before Master returns from the Continental Tournament for Hegemony," Wuxiao replied. "It's fine, you don't need to hurry either, just refine slowly." Taking a look at the time of day, Lu Muyen used her mental energy to contact Bingji, who had already run out to wander. Bingji had a temperament where he just couldn't sit still, and he was a demonic beast with both water and ice attributes to begin with. He disliked hot places the most, so as soon as Lu Muyen began to refine her weapon, he slipped out. A day later, Lu Muyen returned to the imperial capital of Yanzhou Kingdom and went directly to the Lu clan. "Stinky girl, you still know to return." Lu Zhantian seized Lu Muyen, who had just returned, and blew his beard. "Come and read on our website, Wuxia World site." "Thanks," Lu Muyen said with a smile. "Wasn't it because I went out to refine my natal magic tool? Did the refining succeed?" "Of course." Lu Muyen took out the soft sword around her waist and handed it to Lu Zhantian. Lu Mou and Lu Mu Bai also stepped forward for a look. The magic tool she refined could be changed into several forms at will, and she also used an array to conceal the aura of the heavenly frost golden essence. Currently, the sword body was golden colored, but it was impossible to tell what material it was made of. Good sword. Lu Zhantian swung the long sword a few times and couldn't help but admire when he heard the sound of breaking air around him. Lu Muyen said with a smile, "Of course. Stinky girl, you and Mu Bai have to be careful this time when you leave." Lu Zhantian was filled with worry and pride. "Don't worry, Grandpa, elder brother, and I will definitely give you a pleasant surprise." Lu Mo caressed Lu Muyan's head and said warmly, "It doesn't matter if there are no pleasant surprises as long as you two come back safe and sound, it will be the best pleasant surprise." Lu Muyen felt a warm current in her heart, her face filled with smiles. "Dad, don't worry either. We'll definitely come back alive. By the way, has the Gu clan been doing anything recently?" Lu Muyen had always been on guard against the Gu clan, but right now, one, she didn't have time to clean them up, and two, the opportunity hadn't come yet. Lu Mo furrowed his brows and said, "Gu Yuan Kai Seng Gu Yen ran away before you came back. Euphemistically, it said she's going to recuperate, but I just don't think it's that simple. After I leave, you must be wary of the Gu clan. I just constantly feel that they have unmentionable secrets." Lu Muyen reminded. "As for Gu Yen Ran's matter, there would always be a time where the water subsides and the rocks emerge one. Don't worry, we've always been sending spies to keep an eye on the Gu mansion, and the imperial family is also vigilant about the Gu clan." Lu Mo said with a smile, "Your important task right now is to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. Leave the rest to us. Grandpa, Dad, and Mum also take care." After another 10 days of seclusion, the imperial family sent someone to bring Lu Muyen and Lu Mu Bai to the imperial palace, prepared to send them to participate in the tournament. Yun Tsang looked at the 6 people standing in front of him with gratification on his face and encouraged them. "The 6 of you are the hope of our Yanzhou kingdom, and also the key in determining the future strength of our kingdom. I hope that the 6 of you can unite and unanimously fight against outsiders and rush into the top 100. "We will," the several people promised. "All right. I believe in you all." Yun Tsang then explained some rules of the Continental Tournament of Hegemony. "After you all arrive there, you must first." Lu Muyen and the others listened to him attentively and occasionally even expressed surprise on their face. They now had a more detailed understanding of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony. Afterwards, even the imperial ancestor of the Yun clan showed up to encourage the several people, then handed out an interspatial ring with resources within to each of them, provided by the imperial family. Only after did he disappear from the large hall again. You can only go to the battlefield of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony through a teleportation array. Each kingdom is the same. There are 10 assembly points in total, so through the teleportation array, you will all be teleported to one of the assembly points. There will be someone who is specifically in charge of the tournament who will make arrangements for you all to enter the space of the competition field. After you go, absolutely do not go against the arrangement of the person in charge of the tournament, and you also can't fight with sword masters from other kingdoms at the assembly point, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Yun Tsang gave them some final instructions, then took them to the underground teleportation array in the imperial family. He took out 100 low-quality spiritual stones and put them into the notch of the teleportation array. Seeing the figures of the 6 people disappearing in the array, Yun Tsang muttered to himself, "Be sure to return safely. The truth will be revealed one day about Gu Yanran's matter. The truth will be revealed one day about Gu Yanran's matter." Chapter 174, Continental Tournament for Hegemony start. After Lu Muyen stepped into the teleportation array, a gentle light enveloped them. Their vision blackened, then after an unknown length of time, the several people landed onto another teleportation array. What entered the eye after exiting the teleportation array was an open ground. There were already many people gathered, but they all occupied a place to themselves, forming small groups. It could be seen that they were sword masters from different kingdoms. "Let's also go find a place to rest and wait." Yun Ziamo looked around, then pointed to an empty space and said, "All right." After the few people sat down, the 5 teleportation arrays in the assembly point kept flickering, then sword masters wearing different styles of clothing walked out in groups. There sure are many people participating, and this is just one of the 10 teleportation points. Yun Lan roughly scanned the crowd within the assembly point, and there were at least several thousand people based on a visual estimation. This is a grand event of the entire continent, so it's understandable that so many people came. Ji Xian said. Lu Muyen looked at the people who came out of the teleportation arrays, then shrugged helplessly saying, "One more thing. Their cultivation bases aren't low. I should be at the bottom again." The several people couldn't help smiling when they heard her words. Yunlan said, "Actually, your cultivation base is a type of cover. If anyone who doesn't have eyes wants to bully you, they definitely kick an iron plate." After all, they all knew that although Lu Muyen was only middle phase Sword King cultivation base, but she had the ability to challenge Sword Monarchs. Not only is your cultivation base at the bottom, but our cultivation bases aren't at all on the top in comparison either. Yun Zimo's indifferent eyes fluctuated a few times. Among the six, Yun Zimo had the highest cultivation base as he had just broken through to Sword Monarch cultivation base a month ago, followed by Lu Mu Bai and Fu Qin, both being peak phase Sword King cultivation base. Yun Lan and Qi Yixian had both advanced to advanced phase Sword King, and only Lu Muyen remained at middle phase Sword King. During the 2 months of her seclusion, if she wasn't comprehending the water attribute law, then she was in the blazing mountain range refining her natal magic tool, so she simply had no time to cultivate. No worries, we'll be able to be ranked in the top 100 when we come out in a year's time. Lu Muyen said to the several people with a confident smile on her lips. The 5 people were also infected by her, and they all nodded in agreement. No matter what, they would work hard to enter the top 100. Only after waiting at the assembly point for 3 days did the teleportation array gradually stop, and the number of people teleporting here grew sparse. After another 2 days, the teleportation arrays completely stopped operating. Suddenly, a vortex appeared in the sky above the assembly point and a transparent ball of light fell from it. The ball of light enveloped 5 people, including a middle-aged burly man that was their leader. As soon as the few people landed on the ground, the transparent ball of light that enveloped them disappeared automatically and the burly man swept the surroundings with a sharp gaze. Suddenly, the entire space was so quiet that even if a needle fell to the ground, one could hear it. The man withdrew his gaze in satisfaction and said slowly, "I am the person in charge of assembly point number 8. Next, I will issue an identity tablet. Please keep it well. If you lose it, you will be disqualified from the competition." After he finished speaking, he gestured with a wave to the 4 people behind him. The 4 of them took out an interspatial ring each and brought out several piles of different colored jade tablets from it. Immediately following, the burly man took out a few pieces of jade slips. The 5 of them channeled their elemental energy into the jade slips, and the jade slips instantly flew into the air, landing above the pile of jade tablets. A few beams of light fell from the jade slip and those jade tablets spontaneously flew out in different directions. Finally, the jade tablets fell into the hands of everyone at the assembly point as if having recognized their owners. The burly man continued to speak after seeing that the jade tablets were distributed. "You each spray a breath of essence onto the jade tablet and check whether the words displayed on the jade tablets are your kingdom's name and your own name. If there is a mistake, report it to us immediately." Lu Muyen picked up the jade tablet and sprayed a breath of essence. Sure enough, the words Yenzhou Kingdom Lu Muyen were instantly displayed on the smooth jade tablet. She had to sigh with amazement at the power of the organizer. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing that all the participant numbers were distributed correctly, the burly man said again, "I believe you all have a question inside, why the jade tablets in your hands have different colors." Lu Muyan's group of 6 were all holding red-colored jade tablets, while there were people holding jade tablets of various other colors at the assembly point. They all had questions inside. Why there were jade tablets of different colors distributed, Yun Tsang didn't say at all before they came. As you all know, the rules for each continental tournament for hegemony will change, and the biggest change this time is the color of the jade tablets in your hands. I think you all know that participating in the continental tournament for hegemony means that you will all be sent to an independent space. The mission in the preliminary round is to kill demonic beasts in the space. The more you kill, the more likely you are to enter the second round. The previous competitions were all based on quantity, and this time the first round is still the same. Then why do you have different colored jade tablets in your hands? Well, that involves the second round of the competition. The second round of the competition is a battle for jade tablets. People who hold tablets of the same color cannot compete with each other within a specified time frame in the beginning, but they can snatch jade tablets from others with different colors, regardless of life or death. Don't think it strange. This is simply the law of survival on the path of the strong. By the way, let me remind you that there are 7 colors of jade tablets in total. red, yellow, blue, green, cyan, orange, purple. Those who are qualified to participate in the third round not only must have snatched the most jade tablets, but also have all 7 colors. Now I will give you a quarter of an hour to ask questions. If you have any questions, ask them quickly, then we will send you to the independent competition space. The burly man added lightly. After he finished speaking, a person raised their hand in the open grounds and asked, "May I ask, Senior, when we're competing for the qualification for the third round, is there a requirement for the number of jade tablets for each of the 7 colors? There must be 10 purple jade tablets, 30 orange jade tablets, 50 cyan jade tablets, and there are no requirements for the jade tablets of other colors." The burly man replied, "Does the color of the jade tablets have any meaning?" Another person raised their hand and asked, "Of course. The color represents the strength of each kingdom. People holding purple-colored jade tablets represents that they are from a superpower. Following this analogy, the people holding red-colored jade tablets are from some small kingdom of no standing." Lu Muyen looked at the red-colored jade tablet in her hand and the corner of her lips twitched. So it turned out that not only was her cultivation base at the bottom, but even the kingdom she represented was at the bottom. "Senior, could we only start snatching jade tablets in the second round? The first round of the competition is 3 months. In the last 10 days of the 3 months, you can start to snatch jade tablets. After all, there will be some people who will be eliminated because they didn't kill enough demonic beasts. Before then, you are not allowed to snatch jade tablets indiscriminately, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Don't take any chances. As long as you violate the rules, you will definitely be disqualified from the competition by the organizer." Afterwards, a few more people asked some questions, then the burly man stopped answering when a quarter of an hour passed. The jade tablet is not only a representation of your status, but all the rankings and information conveyed by the organizer will also be displayed on the jade tablet. You need to pay attention to it at all times. Finally, I would like to remind you all that after the first round of the competition, the top 10 people who killed the most demonic beasts will also be rewarded with jade tablets. That is, the jade tablets from those who have been eliminated, but have yet to have their jade tablets snatched, would be recovered as rewards to give. After reminding them of the last point, the burly man raised his head and shot a cyan light towards a space not far away. In an instant, the space in that area fluctuated ceaselessly, then a huge stone gate fell. The cyan light shone brilliantly, and the gate made a few rumble sounds, then gradually opened. I announced that the gate of passage number 8 for the Tianling Continent Tournament of Hegemony is officially open. You can enter in succession. Note, so me being me, I spent way too much time just trying to figure out how to translate "you pie," which I eventually translated as jade tablet. I don't know what you guys imagine, but if you copy and paste the Chinese characters into Google Images or Bing etc., any should show the same results. Those are basically what they are. They're basically around the size of a credit card or potentially smaller, but thicker as it's made from jade. Chapter 175. Enter competition space. As soon as the burly man's voice fell, the sword masters who were closest to the cyan light stone gate got up and rushed into it quickly one by one. Seeing this, the rest also didn't want to fall behind and also flew towards it. Ahead, there were even people who fought for the sequence in line. Only after the burly man snorted coldly did they stop. No fighting is allowed at the assembly point, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Lu Muyen looked at the densely packed crowd ahead of them speechlessly and said to the 5, "Let's go in after they go in." "Will it be too late?" Yanlan asked. "It's not like we're going in to compete for spiritual items or treasures, so what's the hurry? There's practically no way to kill all the demonic beasts in the space that's been opened up. It's the same whether we go in early or go late." Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said. Hearing her say this, the few people also felt that it was very reasonable, so they didn't get up. When the people were almost gone did they leap towards the direction of the cyan light stone gate. The burly man observed the only woman among the 6, touched his chin and said softly, "Looks like her temperament is good, but her strength is just too weak." Afterwards he didn't pay much attention either. After Lu Muyen and the others entered, he closed the cyan light stone gate and left through the vortex that they had come from with the others. As soon as they landed, Lu Muyen found that they were on an uninhabited plain with many low-level demonic beasts wandering around. Yun Ziamo took out the jade tablet, channeled a stream of elemental energy into it and used his mental energy to check it. They heard from the imperial teacher that each person's identity number tablet also depicted a general introduction and map of this space. Our current location is half a day away from the nearest city. Withdrawing his mental energy, he said to the several people. Let's hurry up. A beast tide will appear at night. If we don't enter the city to take refuge, we'll be swallowed by the beast tide. Yun Lan pressed his lips together and said. The several people didn't dispute either and rushed in one direction. When they encountered low-level demonic beasts, they didn't kill them either. Killing demonic beasts during the preliminary round would give points, and the number of points would also be determined by the level of the demonic beast killed. That was to say, killing 100 Tier 1 demonic beasts was equivalent to killing only 1 Tier 2 demonic beast points. So naturally there was no need to waste time and energy to deal with low-level demonic beasts. While rushing along, Lu Muyan also placed her mental energy into the jade tablet to read the introduction of this place. This space was birthed thousands of years ago. It had many demonic beasts and natural spiritual items. It was ultimately sealed by several almighty of Tianling continent and became the competition grounds for the continental tournament for hegemony. The main reason for choosing this place as the competition grounds for the tournament for hegemony was because there were so many demonic beasts here that they were running rampant. If the number wasn't controlled and limited, then if they broke through the restriction in the future and was let out, then it would become a huge disaster for the human race. It was impossible for high-level powerhouses to come here every 10 or 20 years to deliberately slaughter the demonic beasts, so they eventually came up with making this place a competition ground. In the preliminary round, participants would be required to slay demonic beasts to advance to the next round. This would not only balance the number of demonic beasts in this space, but also train the younger generation of pupils participating in the competition. Moreover, this space was also special. The demonic crystals of the demonic beasts could be directly absorbed without too many side effects, which was also a way to improve the strength of the participants. Many of the spiritual items also hadn't been completely taken away by high-level powerhouses. 3,000 years ago, the organizers prohibited all high-level powerhouses from setting foot here. Only those who participated in the competition every 20 years were allowed to enter. All the spiritual items in this space could be obtained as long as the participating talents had the opportunity, and they didn't need to hand it over to the organizers. This was also why numerous people wanted to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. Even if their final ranking couldn't reach the top 100, but as long as they had fortuitous encounters and found a few spiritual items to take back, then they definitely wouldn't suffer a loss. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, of course, there were advantages, but there were naturally disadvantages as well. There were all kinds of demonic beasts lurking here, both high and low level, and every night there would also be a beast tide that appears. If they couldn't escape to the refuge cities the organizers built, then they might be devoured by demonic beasts. Moreover, the danger wasn't only from demonic beasts. It wasn't uncommon for humans to kill each other if they simply disagreed, especially situations where sword masters from big kingdoms bullied and oppressed sword masters from small kingdoms being a common occurrence. Snatching demonic beast crystal cores and such incidents were acted out even daily. The organizers didn't stop these behaviors. As long as one entered the competition grounds of the continental tournament for hegemony, life and death was in one's own hands. Therefore, there were countless prodigies who had fallen in this space each time. Of course, the organizers didn't care about the fighting between sword masters, but people were not allowed to seek personal revenge after leaving here. For example, if a sword master from a middle-ranking kingdom killed a genius of a superpower kingdom, then after leaving here, the royal family or the distinguished clans of the superpower kingdom were not allowed to use force to seek revenge from that middle-rank kingdom. If there wasn't such a regulation, then the entire Tianling continent's kingdoms would definitely become involved due to the killings in the competition, and it would become chaos. Of course, not allowing revenge didn't mean that those big kingdoms wouldn't do evil and suppress, so the sword masters of middle and small kingdoms who entered this space rarely took the initiative to provoke people from large kingdoms. Ultimately, opportunities and the danger of death coexisted in this space. Whether one lived or died all depended on one's luck and ability. Under Mo Yan's caution, the 6 of them avoided many low-level demonic beasts. If those tier 3 and above appeared, they would kill a bit, but the rest were all bypassed. Half a day later, they arrived in front of a city which was on the borders of this plain and was backed by a large mountain. Looking at the towering blue-black city wall infused with black iron, Yun Ziamo and the others' expressions couldn't help but change. This city wall is actually made from black iron. Could it be to withstand the demonic beast attacks? Qi Xian couldn't help sucking in a breath. Lu Muyan approached and saw many claw marks left on the blue-black black iron city wall. Look at the claw marks on the city wall. No wonder this is a refuge city, otherwise it would have long been overwhelmed by the beast tides. The several people also discovered the imprints on the city wall and sighed inwardly that they had underestimated the difficulty of the preliminary round before. Let's go and have a night's rest first and inquire about news along the way. Yunzi saw that the city gate was open, and many young people with varying styles of clothing were walking in. They also entered the city gate. Within the city gate, it wasn't as desolate as imagined, but instead very lively, and there was even a commercial street. There were inns and restaurants on both sides of the commercial street, as well as shops selling pills and spiritual herbs, magic tools, and those that purchased demonic beast corpses and crystal cores. How come there are also shops in here? Yunlan said, puzzled. At each continental tournament for hegemony, the competition will always last for more than a year. I heard that many large forces would set up shops in major refuge cities. 1. They could make money, and 2. They can buy a large number of demonic beast corpses and crystal cores, spiritual items and spiritual herbs, and the like, to bring outside and use it for themselves or make a lot of money. Yun Zimo's master was the imperial ancestor of Yanzhou Kingdom, so he knew more than others. So that's how it is. These large forces sure know how to make money. The supply for pills here definitely wouldn't meet the demand. Lu Muyen rubbed her chin, and her eyes were filled with light. Seeing the sparkle in her eyes, Yun Zimo said with a light smile, there will be occasional auctions held in several central cities from time to time, the scale of which is no less than the largest auction held in Yanzhou Kingdom last time. There are also auctions here? Is it organized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? Lu Muyen blinked, and the figure of the red, devilish and flamboyant figure appeared in her mind unconsciously. Come true. Chapter 176. You're a fool, there are also auctions here? Is it organized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? Hearing that there was an auction, Lu Muyen's first thought was Mingxiu by association. Yun Zimo nodded with a smile. If there's no accident, then it's auctions organized and held by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. It's unlikely for small forces to be able to share a bowl of porridge in this sort of tournament competition field. Then how do we know when the auctions will start? Lu Muyen guessed that Yun Zimo would know. Yun Zimo replied, our identity jade tablet will pass the news. As long as there's any event in this competition field, it will be notified through the jade tablet. So that's how it is. The organizer's power sure is strong. Lu Muyen also had to sigh. To be able to have the ability to set up an array to transmit messages in all jade tablets was not something that ordinary forces could do. The organizer is an association of many top organizations on this continent, so their strength is naturally exceptionally strong. Yun Zimo said. Lu Muyen nodded and asked, should we also find an inn to stay in? Let's find an inn to stay at first and obtain some information along the way. There was a total of 5 inns in this city, and the first 4 they walked past were all full, while there just so happened to be 4 rooms in the last one. Except for Lu Muyen, the others could live in 1 room for 2. We want these 4 rooms. Yun Zimo took out a purple crystal card and handed it to the shopkeeper. Lu Muyen swept the inn where people came and went, thinking that it was no wonder the major forces wanted to set up a commercial street in the city. The cost of a night's stay here was 10 times more expensive than the best inn outside, and there might not even be a room left. The teleportation from the assembly point into the competition space was random, and the location after teleporting in was also different. People from each kingdom would line up to teleport together. If they're somewhat lucky, their teleported location wouldn't be far from this city. If one was unlucky, one might have to rush a day's journey to reach the refuge city. Of course, although the teleportation was random and irregular, but it definitely would never teleport them into deep mountains and forests or places far away from the refuge city. Guests, these are the keys to the 4 rooms, please keep it safe. The shopkeeper took out 4 keys from the counter and handed them to Yun Zimo. Before Yun Zimo even stretched out his hand, a large hand blocked him. We want these rooms. Lu Muyen furrowed her willow brows and scrutinized the 5 people who had just entered the inn and wanted to snatch their rooms. The leader was a tall, big young man with a rough appearance, exuding an aura of hostility all over his body, making people very uncomfortable. Behind him were 2 men and 2 women. The 2 women were pretty good-looking, but they revealed an arrogance as if no one could beat them, which destroyed that beauty. Among the other 2 men, one appeared feminine, while the other was smiling, but there wasn't much warmth in his eyes. Generally speaking, the 5 people didn't look like any good people at first glance. A coldness flashed past Lu Muyen's eyes, who knew that they would encounter a scene, one of their room keys being snatched right after they had just arrived at this refuge city. These are rooms we booked and we've already paid for it. Everyone, please look for another place to book. Yunziamo wasn't afraid of the hostile aura from the tall, big man, only saying indifferently while looking at him. As soon as the tall, big man entered the door, he heard that the inn only had the last 4 rooms, but it was unfortunate that they were a step late. Seeing that the 6 people except the leader weren't that strong, he decided to step forward, wanting to snatch the rooms. Originally he thought these people would obediently move out of the way, but he didn't expect that they would actually refuse him. This young master has taken a fancy to these 4 rooms. Ask the shopkeeper to return the money to you so you can look for another place to book. The tall, big man had a sliver of arrogance in his eyes. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. In fact, not all sword masters could find an inn to stay at in refuge cities. Those who came late naturally couldn't stay in one, so they would all go to the several resting rooms on the city wall to meditate. Yunziamo furrowed his brows, then moved his gaze onto Lu Muyen and the others, asking with his eyes, yield or not yield? He didn't fear these few people, but he didn't want to cause trouble on the first day. However, he couldn't swallow his anger either, so he wanted to see the attitude of his several companions. Lu Muyen glanced at the expressions of the several people, then stepped forward with a chuckle, swiftly grabbed the 4 keys from the shopkeeper's hand and said to Yunziamo and the others, let's go up to rest. She didn't even look at the people who wanted to snatch their rooms just now and simply ignored them. Oh, the chick's temper sure isn't small. The tall, big man blocked their path with a bit of ruthlessness in his eyes, but we're not people who love to show pity and tender care for Jade too. Hand over the keys now and well spare your life, otherwise don't blame us using ruthless methods to destroy flowers. Is that so? With your ugly appearance you want to use ruthless methods to destroy flowers? Lu Muyen put away the keys in front of the several people and folded her arms with ridicule on her lips. Kind humans would be bullied by others. She had never been one to hand over the other cheek after one cheek was slapped. If she succumbed to such a person, then she really would have lived 2 lives in vain. Haha. The people who entered and exited the inn at this time also stopped to watch the show when they heard the 2 parties fight for the keys. Originally they thought that the weaker party would give up the rooms, but who expected that this stunning, purple-clothed woman would be so headstrong? You're seeking death. The tall, big man's face was grim, and he raised his hand to give Lu Muyen a palm wind. Lu Muyen sneered, didn't move from her spot, and stretched out her right hand to greet his. Peng! The 2 palm winds collided together and there was a sound of breaking air. The tables and chairs beside the 2 instantly shattered in numerous halves. Surprise appeared in the eyes of the tall, big man. His strength was at initial phase sword monarch, but a middle phase sword king could actually receive his palm wind, that he had put in 8/10 of his strength into, without even changing expression. The eyes of the several people behind him revealed varying expressions. Seeing that the several sets of tables and seats in the inn were all damaged by the 2 people's palm wind, the shopkeeper's expression sank and he said, there is a notice at the entrance of the commercial street that no fighting is allowed. If you 2 continue to fight when the law enforcement unit arrives, you will all be disqualified from the competition. Lu Muyen also read the notice when she entered the commercial street, but she couldn't just sit still when the tall, big man took action. She glanced at the other party with ridicule, took out a purple crystal card, then said to the shopkeeper, I'll pay half for the loss of the tables and chairs, you ask them for the other half. Hearing her words, the audience couldn't help twitching their lips. How much did a few sets of tables and seats cost? Wasn't this woman a bit too stingy? Lu Muyen naturally also felt the speechless gazes. Seeing that the shopkeeper still didn't move and was also looking rather speechless, she said lightly, even if I need to send away a beggar with money, I want benefit a person who's unpleasant to my eyes. Hurry up and swipe my half. The tall, big man's eyes were filled with haze, but he didn't dare to fight again. He slammed his large hand down and placed a purple crystal card on the counter. Lousy 3 will compensate everything. He noted this stingy woman down. When they leave this city he definitely must kill this group of people. Seeing that the other party was so chivalrous, Lu Muyen took back the purple crystal card in her hand and said to the shopkeeper, since Asumyom wants to pretend, then you can just accept his. The tables and seats here aren't easy to buy, remember to charge several times the price. Shouldn't it be that she rushes to pay to demonstrate her magnanimity? Lu Muyen then gave the tall, big man a "you're a fool" look, then addressed Yunziamo and the others to leave the lobby, ignoring the grim gazes of the people behind them. Translated product by May Our Come True 1 Lolol. Another meaning for the word used here, Qiao Duan, is also trope. Ah. Indeed, the arrogant young master / Mrs. Trope. 2. If you just replace the word jade with women / female, then it's pretty straightforward. They want show pity or tender care for women. I just wanted to keep the translation neutral since it's neutral in Chinese. Can be said to males as a joke too sometimes or about a man. Not common practice to say it to or about a male though, I don't think. 3. Just a reminder, lousy is just an arrogant way of self-address by men. There is somewhat of a translation for it to English, but it's kinda unfitting so I didn't translate it. Chapter 177. The beast tide has come. When the tall, big man saw Lu Muyen cast the "You're a fool" look, his tightly clenched fists made a crack sound. Seeing the several people strutting away, the yellow-clothed woman behind the tall, big man asked with cold eyes, "Boss, well, just let them go like this?" She hated women who were more beautiful than herself, and what she loved to do most was to scratch open their faces and watch them suffer. The purple-clothed woman violated her baseline just now. She just wanted to peel that face off to make a human skin mask. There's a clear rule in the city that no fighting's allowed. Otherwise we'll be disqualified from the competition. Why else do you think they dared oppose me? They'll see how they'll be arrogant after leaving the city. The tall, big man snorted coldly. He thought inwardly that Lu Muyen and the others dared to offend his prestige because they knew the rules of this city. A sinister smile rose on his lips. Tomorrow he would definitely make them kneel and beg for mercy. "Boss, you have to leave that woman to me." The yellow-clothed woman stroked her lips with her fingertips and said softly. The tall, big man knew her addiction and there was a smile on his grim face. "No problem. I'll give her to you after the 3 of us play around with them first." "No problem." Lu Muyen still didn't know that those people had already schemed against her, not only wanting to kill them but also bully and humiliate her. The yellow-clothed woman even wanted to peel off her face and make a mask. Of course, even if she knew, she wouldn't have much reaction. She didn't pay attention to these people at all to begin with. After going up to the 3rd floor, Lu Muyen and Yun Ziamo were in a separate room each, Fu Qin and Lu Mu Bai were in one room, and Qi Xian and Yun Lan were in another. After the few people cleaned up and left the inn, they went to a restaurant for dinner and to inquire about any news. Not only were inns popular but restaurants were the same. The private rooms had long been booked, but they didn't arrive too late either as they found a quiet table by the window and sat down. The group of people who wanted to snatch the keys from us in the afternoon will definitely not forget this easily. When we leave the city tomorrow we need to prepare for battle. Lu Muyen took a sip of the spiritual tea that the waiter just brought up. The spiritual tea was expensive, but it tasted average. It seemed that this year would be filled with snatching from people. They bullied people too far and we won't just yield our keys either, so we were bound to have a fight. Qi Xian looked at Lu Muyen with gentle eyes, softening his stern face a bit. Lu Muyen was accustomed to Qi Xian's cold face and cold eyes. The change now really made her feel a little indescribable, but it definitely wasn't joy. "When the time comes, let's just kill them," Fu Qin said with a smile on his face as he held a teacup. Lu Muyen raised her head and looked at Fu Qin, who appeared delicate with a scholarly aura and usually felt like an invisible man, in surprise. This person rarely spoke ever since the trial in the glacial mountain range, and he basically didn't say a word when they entered the competition space, so who knew had surprised them with his words now. One really couldn't look at a person's appearance when judging. People like Fu Qin confused people too easily. In fact, his heart was also a ruthless one, it was just dependent on who it was towards. Fu Qin, who knew that a taciturn person like you would also have a moment where you'd be so domineering. Lu Mu Bai and Fu Qin's relationship wasn't that bad, so he joked with relaxed brows. "If one does not offend me, then I will not offend one." They took the initiative to provoke, so how was there reason to allow them to bully? Fu Qin replied in a refined, bookish manner. Lu Muyen chuckled, "That's right, and the scent of blood on those people are very strong. There were definitely many people whose lives were severed by their hands. If they dared to take the initiative to ambush us, then killing them could be considered as a good deed." Although the strength of the other party seemed to be relatively high, but the 6 of them really weren't afraid at all. After all, they all had their own means. Yun Ziamo was regarded as the leader of the several people, and he didn't object to this point. In fact, the killing intent in his heart was no weaker than them. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. They chatted a little more, then sat quietly and listened to the conversations of the people at the tables beside them. "Have you looked at the rankings on the Jade tablet?" A person at a table beside them asked his companion. I haven't looked at it, what's wrong? 2 abnormal monsters have already earned more than 1,000 points, and it's only been half a day. What? That amazing. The people beside took out the jade tablets for a look. So it turned out to be Mo Ling and Yen Jun. It said that they are the 2 people who have the best chance to compete for the first place in this competition. Indeed. The 2 who come from superpower kingdoms not only have a very deep background, but they're also very powerful in their own right. The 2 of them are already advanced phase sword monarchs right now. During the finals, they'd probably have broken through to Sword Sovereign by using the resources here. There was envy and a hint of respect in this person's voice. Lu Muyen swept the jade tablets of the few people and found that they were all blue, indicating that they were pupils from medium-sized kingdoms. These people had been revolving their conversation around Mo Ling and Yen Jun, so Lu Muyen noted down the 2 that they kept mentioning, then focused on another table. I wonder if there'll be a beast tide coming tonight? A woman with an ordinary face asked worriedly. One of the companions replied, there shouldn't be such a coincidence, right? I heard that the beast tide usually comes every few days or even more than 10 days. Who knows? There's nothing to worry about. As long as we don't take the initiative to leave the refuge city, even if a beast tide attacks, we wouldn't need to be afraid of being engulfed. Another said with a smile. I haven't seen a beast tide yet. I heard that the beast tide in this competition space is very ferocious. Generally, it's commanded by Tier 6 or transformation stage demonic beasts. If you go to the central areas, there will even be Tier 8 demonic beasts appearing. That's only natural. Dozens of Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts aren't scary, but if thousands, tens of thousands of them attack, even if we're Sword King cultivation bases, we wouldn't be able to resist their huge numbers. Not to mention Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts are only just the front line, there are many Tier 5 or 6 demonic beasts in ambush behind. Really? No wonder the elders in the imperial family always insisted that at night, no matter what, we must go to the refuge city to hide. So that means if we go out at night and encounter a beast tide, we'll surely die. It's true. Otherwise, why would there be refuge cities built in the competition space, each separated approximately a day's travel away? Listening to the tone of fear these people had towards the beast tide, Lu Muyen stroked the teacup in deep thought. After their meal, the several people strolled around the commercial street and Lu Muyen once again swept up the spiritual herbs sold in the city, causing many people to cast curious glances at her. Lu Muyen, are you buying so many spiritual herbs to refine pills with? Yun Ziamo found that she was simply too crazy, she basically bought all the spiritual herbs in the pill shops. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, otherwise I'm buying it to toss around to play with? Yun Ziamo looked at her speechlessly and said, you've used up your money so quickly, you're not going to participate in the auctions? Let's talk about it when it's time for auctions. Money will always come again once they're used. Lu Muyen smiled vividly, her jet-black eyes sparkling. Just earlier in the restaurant she heard about the beast tide. She just so happened to have a few pill formulas that were made from demonic beast crystal cores. These spiritual herbs weren't considered too expensive either. The most important thing was that it wasn't available outside, so eventually she could make a lot of money by selling these pills she refined. Hearing her confidence, with lively brilliance all over her body, Yun Ziamo smiled lightly and said no more. After returning to the inn, Lu Muyen quickly entered the state of cultivation. The spiritual force here was several times denser than that outside. Her cultivation base was indeed a little low, so she had to hurry up and improve. In the middle of the night, suddenly, a few roars of demonic beasts broke the original calm of the city. Lu Muyen opened her eyes that were filled with fighting intent. The beast tide has come. Roar, roar. The sound of the beast roars came wave after wave from far to near, filling the ears of everyone in the city. Lu Muyen looked at the extremely excited Bing Ji. You're this happy that the beast tide has come? Of course. This means that I can refine a lot of crystal cores. Bing Ji's beak opened as if drooling. Lu Muyen held her forehead. This was just a foodie. Like humans, the laws of survival among demonic beasts were even crueler. The weak becoming meat for the strong was their truth in survival. Refining and absorbing the crystal cores of demonic beasts couldn't only improve the strength of humans, but also the strength of demonic beasts. If they absorbed the crystal cores of demonic beasts with a pure bloodline, then they even had the chance to evolve. Mo Yen, are there many high-level demonic beasts coming this time? Lu Muyen's mental energy was still in a dormant state, so she couldn't detect other parties' auras if they were too far away. Mo Yan's eyes were light. Not much. The leaders are a few Tier 6 demonic beasts. Leave those Tier 6 demonic beasts to me. Bing Ji exuded a fighting intent all over his body. He hadn't moved his muscles and bones for a long time. Although Tier 6 demonic beasts weren't enough for him to play with, but hell make do. Lu Muyan rolled her eyes at him. Later you'll stay there and not move. Why? Bing Ji stretched his neck and asked. First, the demonic beast crystal cores Tier 6 and below is of no use to you at all. Don't forget that you're a Tier 8 demonic beast. Even if you are suppressed by Ming Xiu to a Tier 6 cultivation base, but it doesn't change your strength of a high level. 2. Once you participate in the battle, you'll inevitably reveal your true form. I still don't want to reveal that I have an Ice Lawn spirit pet so quickly. So today just watch our performance obediently. Lu Muyan's brows concealed a deep smile. Bing Ji choked and actually couldn't find any words to refute. He huffed, alright. I won't go up this time. But when we encounter high-level demonic beasts, you must let me fight. The demonic beast crystal cores above Tier 6 was still useful to him. If he could kill a Tier 8 demonic beast, then his cultivation base could be greatly improved. Alright. But we'll talk about it when you can actually win in a fight against them. Roar roar. The beast roars shook the heavens and moved the earth, and one could even feel trembles in the city. They're here, let's go take a look. Lu Muyan opened the door and quickly joined Yun Ziamo and the others, then flew towards the city wall. There were many people flying in the air, all of them having the same purpose, and all arrived on the city wall. After landing on the city wall, Lu Muyan swept her gaze down, borrowing the light of the moonlight pearls inlaid on the city wall, and saw the dense number of demonic beasts rushing towards them not far away, roaring and clamoring. Is this the beast tide? The number really is huge. Many sword masters sighed with amazement. Seeing the strong fighting intent in Lu Muyan's eyes, Lu Mubai said, Yener, be careful later. Don't worry, eldest brother. Lu Muyan tossed him a joyous smile. This time he'll be able to have a satisfactory fight. Some sword masters who had met Lu Muyan at the inn at noon were speechless when they heard her say that. What kind of woman was this? Was she not afraid at all? Didn't she see that many female sword masters around were looking like little birds relying on people? All the sword masters in the city hear the order. You are not allowed to stay below. All must go up to the city wall to withstand the beast tide. Anyone who disobeys the order will be immediately disqualified from the competition. Suddenly, a mechanical voice resounded above the entire city, carrying with it a dense pressure. The organizer sure is a little interesting. Lu Muyan said with a smile. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, are we going to take action? Yun Lan looked at Lu Muyan and the others asking. Lu Muyan had long been waiting for this, of course. Killing demonic beasts in a beast tide can get us more points, so why should we go to some forest and kill them one by one? Besides, the demonic beast crystal cores obtained by killing the demonic beasts can also be directly refined and absorbed. Only idiots won't act. She added. Behind her just so happened to stand the 5 people who they fought with for the keys in the inn during the day. Among them, the yellow-clothed woman sneered, I had thought that the arrogance during the daytime was because you had something to rely on, but in fact, you're just an idiot. Everyone wanted to get more points and also knew that if they killed demonic beasts during beast tides they'd gain points quickly. But the problem was, these demonic beasts came in groups after groups, and they would definitely die if they entered. This woman was just an idiot with a tough mouth. Someone just likes to talk big, why do you need to expose it? The pink-clothed woman beside her replied with a look of disdain. Lu Muyan turned her head and glanced at the few people coldly but ignored them. Killing demonic beasts was the important task right now. The several people were swept by her cold gaze and their hearts couldn't help but skip a beat. When she turned back around, they were then left in a bad mood and kept making indirect curses and criticisms. There was a flash of killing intent in Lu Mubei's eyes, but Lu Muyan stopped him. It's just a few jesters jumping about. Just let them jump around for the night. It was useless to argue now, and they couldn't fight in the city either. It would be fine if they just waited until they left tomorrow and killed to their heart's content. The several people also understood what she meant, so they curbed their killing intent one after another. At the same time, they also felt the killing intent and resentment from the other party. Tomorrow they really needed to cut the weeds and remove the roots. Roar. Hundreds of Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts rushed under the city wall quickly and roared a few times. Some demonic beasts with good jumping ability leapt onto the edge of the city wall. They've jumped up, kill? The sword masters who were closer to the edge of the city wall quickly took out their magic tools to kill. Because the demonic beasts who leapt up were all tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts, there wasn't much threat to the sword masters whose minimum cultivation base was Sword King strength. After cleaning up the demonic beasts on the city wall, many people stood by on the edge of the city wall and kept brandishing all kinds of magic tools to attack the demonic beasts below. Sword auras of various colors swayed, even illuminating the night a little. Lu Muyen and the others weren't idle either. Sword auras slashed down one after the other and the points in the jade tablet also kept increasing, but the speed was very slow. She found that killing a tier 3 demonic beast was only 1 point and a tier 4 demonic beast was 2 points. She couldn't resist furrowing her brows when she remembered the conversation between those people in the restaurant. The 2 genius sword masters named Mo Ling and Yen Jun got more than 1,000 points on the first day. It seemed that they had to slay quite a bit of high-level demonic beasts to have obtained it. In order to stand out in the second round of the competition, it was also important to be in the top 10 during the preliminary round. After 2 hours had passed, the bodies of countless tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts piled up below, but no one dared to go down and retrieve the crystal cores. After all, the waves of beasts were still surging and the tier 3 demonic beasts could no longer be seen, replaced by tier 5 demonic beasts. Roar! Waves after waves of tier 5 demonic beasts came from not far away and everyone saw the densely packed shadows approaching quickly. Tier 5 demonic beasts are here, fuck, there are actually so many. Many sword masters were dumbfounded when they saw nearly 1,000 tier 5 demonic beasts rushing towards them. Even the sword masters with sword monarch cultivation base revealed a grave expression. A few dozen were still easy to deal with, but with so many tier 5 demonic beasts, even if they acted the moment they become surrounded, if they didn't die they'd be severely injured. Meanwhile, Lu Muyan's eyes lit up. You all be careful, I'm going to earn some points now, don't follow? After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for the other people to answer either. She tapped her toes, and her body flew out elegantly, falling straight from the city wall. Muyen, Yenner, Lu Muyen. Lu Mu Bai and the others never thought that she would actually dare be so bold and couldn't help but shout. Heavens! Has that woman gone crazy? The sword masters who saw the purple figure fall down the city wall couldn't help but exclaim. Chapter 179. Violent beauty. Lu Muyan's actions caused many sword masters on the city wall to wipe away some cold sweat. Was this not wanting her own life? It was just that the imagined scene didn't occur. Although the purple elegant silhouette was surrounded by demonic beasts, but she wasn't torn to pieces. Instead, she waved her fists and smashed towards the demonic beast that wanted to bite her. Isn't that woman's body too strong? Yeah. Compared with tier 5 demonic beast, she wasn't inferior at all. This is too exaggerated. No wonder she dared to rush down. So it turns out that the toughness of her body is already comparable to that of a demonic beast. Is this still a woman? She looks so beautiful, but why is she so violent? What do you know? Compared with so many delicate beauties, such violent beauties are more pleasing to the eye. The eyes of the 5 people who held a grudge against them all revealed some haze. Obviously, they didn't expect the woman that they had just finished ridiculing to have such combat power. This was basically having been slapped on the cheek loud and clear, even more embarrassing than quarreling. This woman definitely can't be kept alive. This thought rose in the minds of the tall, big man and his companions unanimously. Their bodies simply didn't have the toughness of Lu Muyan's body, nor was it as flexible as hers either, so they could only stand on the city wall and attack the demonic beasts that jumped up or were under the city wall, their points increasing very slowly. After Lu Muyen rushed into the group of beasts, she seemed to be attacking with the most primitive brute force, but it was in fact not. Her hands were enveloped with a layer of red fire elemental energy, and each time she punched and attacked, she aimed at the vital point of the demonic beast. Each time a scorching palm wind blasted out, the blazing energy that landed on the demonic beast's vital point could directly injure its heart. A few punches could kill one demonic beast while she took out the crystal core and tossed it into her interspatial ring. Elemental energy continued to be drained, but she didn't take pills to replenish. Instead, she directly grasped the crystal core and began to absorb and refine it. In this space, due to the special energy, other sword masters could directly absorb the power of the crystal core without using pills to remove the poison, but they needed the actual refining process, otherwise their body would explode. But Lu Muyen didn't need it. Her body refining skill had already entered the second layer, and her body was no less powerful than demonic beasts at peak phase tier 5. Plus the effect of the sea of fog in her dantian, no matter how many demonic beast crystal cores she absorbed, she could refine it. I've found the traces of the tier 6 demonic beasts. You clean up the tier 5 demonic beast here, it'll go kill the few leaders. Mo Yan's voice entered Lu Mu Yan's sea of consciousness. When Bing Ji heard it, he also wanted to act. It was indeed really boring fighting with these tier 5 demonic beasts. Owner, I'll follow up for a look. You both go. Remember to take it easy, don't kill too fast, otherwise this beast tide will recede. Lu Mu Yan bombarded the besieging demonic beasts while telepathically communicating. Mo Yan replied, then leapt off her shoulders and disappeared into the beast tide in an instant. Bing Ji spread his wings and flew in the direction where Mo Yan disappeared, vanishing in a while as well. Crack. Lu Mu Yan smashed the bones of a peak phase tier 5 demonic beast. Her palm that was enveloped with fire elemental energy pierced through its chest, grabbed a round and fluorescent green crystal core and tore it out. Wood attribute demonic beast. Lu Mu Yan murmured. This time she didn't directly refine the crystal core, placing it away with the demonic beast corpse. Afterwards, she swept her gaze around, then after finding a few of the same tier 5 sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, she used flash steps to maneuver around the surrounding demonic beasts and headed straight for those sweet-scented osmanthus beasts. Her movements are so fast. Many sword masters on the city wall were not only fighting to kill demonic beasts, but also focused partially on Lu Mu Yan. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Some people were waiting to see when she would become exhausted or become besieged and killed by demonic beasts, but now they actually witnessed that she didn't only not return to the city wall, but instead moved towards the center of the beast tide, her movements like ghosts. They couldn't help but be exceptionally shocked. Where did this woman come from? She wasn't on the list of talented people that they had to pay special attention to. Many people guessed that if she could come back safely tonight, she would definitely be a dark horse in this preliminary competition. The ranking of points in the Jade tablets kept changing, and the name Lu Mu Yan had skyrocketed from a ranking after 10,000 to now approaching 1,000. There are only 6 points for killing tier 5 demonic beasts but 10 points for killing peak phase tier 5 demonic beasts. Seems like I have to find a way to individually search and make a move. Lu Mu Yan muttered to herself. The speed of her movement towards the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts was unabated, and everyone just saw a faint purple figure appearing and disappearing, before finally overwhelmed by the darkness and the beast tide. She's gone. Someone shouted subconsciously. I see her heading towards those dark green demonic beasts that look like brown bears. One of them said. There were some who also didn't like her showing off and said coldly, I think she's probably already buried in the belly of a demonic beast. How's that possible? Look, right now there's a name Lu Mu Yan on the Identity Jade tablet that keeps rising. You can tell it's a girl from first glance alone, so it should be her. Many people were in awe of Lu Mu Yan's act of rushing down the city wall and slaying among the demonic beasts. If it were them, they definitely wouldn't dare to do so. Lu Mu Bai and the others observed the changes of the point rankings in the Jade tablet. Seeing the name Lu Mu Yan still rising, they slowly breathed a sigh of relief. This little sister of yours is too frightening. Fu Qin stood beside Lu Mu Bai and sighed with mixed emotions, but really strong. That girl is getting wilder and wilder. Lu Mu Bai's eyes were filled with doting. As long as little sister was happy, and under the condition that she could guarantee her own safety, then he wouldn't restrain her. Yunzi Mo slayed a demonic beast that had leapt up to the wall and said, You all are too doting on her, letting her do anything. Although Lu Mu Yan revealed her strong fighting power, but it made them nervous. While being proud of their companion, they also couldn't help but feel speechlessness at her actions. Qi Yixian's eyes darkened, looking at the faraway plain under the shroud of night. He could no longer find that splendid figure, and he suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. Was the distance between him and Lu Mu Yan already so big? No, he wouldn't give up. He must catch up to her footsteps and let her return to him again. As if being motivated, Qi Yixian jumped off the city wall, but he didn't go in deep. Using the obstruction of the black iron of the city wall, he bravely killed the demonic beasts who were roaring and wanted to overthrow the city. Seeing his flexible attacks, others also jumped off the city wall daringly and maneuvered among the demonic beasts, using the strength of the city wall to kill the demonic beasts. Their speed was indeed much faster than before. Lu Mu Bai and the others looked at each other, then followed, jumping off the city wall and quickly killed and harvested the tier 5 demonic beasts. Not long after, there were more and more corpses of demonic beasts under the city wall, and the sword masters below the city wall also had the opportunity to collect high-level demonic beasts into their interspatial ring. Lu Muyen kept chasing and killing the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts and scooped out green crystal cores from their bodies one after another. There was a smile on her lips. Today's harvest sure was really good. At the same time, on a city in the east of the competition field stood a man whose face couldn't be seen clearly. The man stood proudly, exuding a coldness all over his body, forming an independent scene that no one dared to approach. He lifted the jade tablet in his hand and watched a name on it continue to leap, whispering, "Lu Muyen, this year's dark horse from a small kingdom?" If someone was by his side, they would definitely have found that the jade tablet in his hand was dark purple. Translated product by May Our Come True. Chapter 180. Advance to the top 50 in the rankings. In the north of the competition space, a red-clothed man sat cross-legged in an upper room of an inn in a large city. He slowly opened his eyes, took out his dark purple jade tablet, saw a name on the point rankings continuously advancing upwards, and his lips curled up. Who is Lu Muyen? Never heard of Yanzhou Kingdom either. Seeing the name advance into the top 100, his calm eyes didn't change much. A person from a small kingdom advancing up into the top 100 on the first day, interesting. Then he held the jade tablet in his hand, closed his eyes and didn't put too much thought into the point rankings. Lu Muyan's flash step was extremely fast, plus many demonic beasts saw her powerful lethality where none of the demonic beasts who landed in her hands could escape, so although they were furious, but they were also extremely fearful and didn't dare to take the initiative to sneak attack. Seeing that her ranking had already advanced into the top 100, she slowed down the killing of demonic beasts. It was better to keep a low profile on the first day. All the crystal cores of the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts were wood attributes, which could be used to refine a very useful elemental energy nurturing pill, so she didn't let free of herself and kill indiscriminately, but instead specifically searched for sweet-scented osmanthus beasts to kill. The sweet-scented osmanthus beasts around were all tier 5 and had gained intelligence. Seeing that human women kill their own kind, they were initially madly angered. They raised their heads and screamed, gathering all the surrounding sweet-scented osmanthus beasts to attack her. Yet who would have thought that it was precisely to her heart's desire? More than 10 advanced phase and peak phase tier 5 demonic beasts besieged her, and it was also exhausting for her to use the most primitive attack methods to attack. Seeing that she was already far away from the city wall, and this area was shrouded in darkness, making it so that the people looking from over there wouldn't be able to see her clearly, with a thought, a golden longsword flew out from her waist. She moved her fingers, bombarding the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts that were biting towards her, while mouthing some words at the same time, then her red lips spit out one word, separate. Let's take a look at the power of my natal magic tool today. Lu Muyen said to herself and used her mental energy to control her natal magic tool. The golden longsword hovering in the air instantly scattered into 10 small swords, forming a golden cyclone one after another, heading directly towards the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts besieging her. Ayo! Screams rang out one after another. The golden cyclones were like meat grinders. The demonic beasts it passed were slayed one after another, their corpses penetrated by the small swords as it brought out the crystal cores to drop into Lu Muyan's hands. She looked at the force created by her natal magic tool with satisfaction. It wasn't that she was cruel. These demonic beasts were very fierce and ruthless. If she wasn't careful and was bitten by them, then she'd definitely be ripped apart and devoured. So she had no sympathy for these demonic beasts who took the initiative to attack a human city. What should be killed she would kill. This was the law of survival for cultivators. After killing the nearby sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, she didn't act again, and instead mobilized her flash steps, maneuvering around within the beast tide. Suddenly the points on her jade tablet increased sharply, 20 points at once, and then her ranking flew up to 62nd. She felt that it seemed like she played a little too big today. It wasn't good to be so high profile on the first day. It would be very troublesome if she attracted the attention of the geniuses of the big kingdoms. Mo Yen, around enough is good enough. My points have already exceeded my limit, let's keep a low profile. Lu Muyen telepathically communicated to Mo Yen. An increase of 20 points definitely must have been obtained from Mo Yen killing a tier 6 demonic beast. In the continental tournament for hegemony, one could bring their own spirit pets to fight, and the battle records of the spirit pets would also be counted to their owner. So when Mo Yen killed demonic beasts, her points would increase accordingly. These two little vermin keep on following me. They'll come back after killing them. Mo Yan's voice telepathically replied. The corner of Lu Muyan's lips twitched. Seeing that there was only a difference of 39 points between the 62nd place and 50th place, it seemed that it would be impossible to not be in the limelight this time. Sure enough, not long later the rankings on the point rankings changed again. Lu Muyan increased by 40 points, pushing the 50th person down, successfully breaking into the top 50 of the rankings. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, some of the leading high-level demonic beasts were killed by Mo Yen, while the remaining two saw that the situation wasn't favorable, so they instantly roared a few times, turned, and shot towards the deep mountains in the distance. At this time, the sky not far away also revealed a trace of white light. The night was about to be replaced by morning light. Lu Muyan's eyes fluctuated, then quickly recalled Mo Yen and Bing Ji, and moved towards the city wall. When she jumped onto the city wall, the demonic beasts below all roared with bloodshot eyes, then finally turned around unwillingly, heading towards the deep mountains in the distance. The beast tide came quickly and left quickly. When the sky was slightly lit up, all the demonic beasts below the city had retreated, leaving only piles of demonic beast corpses and the smell of blood filling the entire city. A ray of sunlight broke through the sky and shot down directly, perfectly scattering on the position where Lu Muyan was standing. The wind fluttered her purple dress and her ink-like hair tied with a thin ribbon flowed freely. Her entire body was as if it were enveloped in a layer of warm golden light, her figure peerlessly gorgeous, giving people a mysterious, graceful feel. Her peerless and delicate facial features appeared much softer in the warm light, forming a visual contrast with the deadly, cold woman who rushed into the group of beasts to kill, making people unable to fathom. And her name also appeared as a talent to pay attention to on lists belonging to sword masters from each kingdom. Who wasn't an amazing, sensational person to have advanced into the top 50 on the first day? Although the well-known and admired figures like Mo Ling and Yen Jun were also objects of attention, but it was only a matter of course for them to have entered the top 50. The names Yanzhou Kingdom, Lu Muyan were extremely unfamiliar to the sword masters from superpower kingdoms and many large, medium, and small kingdoms. Whether she was the dark horse this time could only be known at the end. Therefore, Lu Muyan's name only got some notice and attention, but was not included on the list of priorities to pay attention to. If Lu Muyan knew this, she definitely would feel that she was extremely wise. If she killed a few more demonic beasts and advanced into the top 10 of the rankings, it would mean endless trouble. Of course, during the last few days she naturally didn't mind being high profile. After all, the reward for advancing into the top 10 were identity jade tablets, which gave a greater guarantee for the second round. Yenner, you're too impulsive. Lu Mu Bei's tone was reproachful, but the doting look in his eyes didn't subside. Lu Muyan jumped down from the very top of the city wall and hugged his arm, acting spoilt as she said, "Eldest brother, it's because I'm well aware of the situation so I dare to go. I cherish my little life very much. If Grandpa and Dad are here they'd definitely be frightened sick by you." Lu Mu Bei tapped the tip of her nose in amusement. "How could that be? Their hearts are very strong." Yun Zimo put away the long sword in his hand with appreciation in his eyes. "Congratulations on advancing into the top 50 of the rankings. But I don't want to be so high profile at all." Lu Muyan revealed some helplessness on her face and shrugged. She indeed wanted to earn points and collect crystal cores, but she really didn't want to be so high profile at the beginning. She still liked to amass wealth while keeping a low profile. The people who were close to them rolled their eyes speechlessly. She didn't want to be so high profile but still rushed into the beast tide to kill, and that look of dislike when she heard her point rankings, it truly made them want to vomit blood. They sure wanted to be high profile but they just couldn't be high profile. This woman truly was a freak. Translated product by Mayar Come True. Chapter 181. You pierce through the heavens, well all accompany you. Only those who had seen Lu Muyan jump into the beast tide and kill with ghostly maneuvers understood just how violent this woman was. Especially her body that was comparable to that of a demonic beast, it truly attracted the envy of countless people. Of course, there weren't only those who were envious, there were also many who were red-eyed with jealousy, and there were even some who considered snatching the body refining method from her. On Tianling continent, body refining methods were extremely rare, and could even be considered non-existent. But as long as one obtained one, Their future achievements were absolutely unlimited. Under the complicated gazes of countless people, Lu Muyen returned to the inn to rest with Yun Ziamo and the others. After busying for half a night, they prepared to rest a day, then travel to the next city. In addition to killing a certain number of demonic beasts to get points during the preliminary round of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, the participants must also arrive at the largest city, Wind Thunder City, in the central area within a specified time frame. If they didn't arrive in time, then it would be considered renouncing their qualifications to continue the competition. Regardless of which assembly point the person teleported in from, they were all at the edge of the competition space, very far from the central area. Therefore they must kill demonic beasts to collect points while traveling without a break. After their figures disappeared on the city wall, the five went into a corner where no one was around to discuss countermeasures. Boss, although that woman's only at middle phase Sword King cultivation base, but her combat power is very strong. Do we still besiege and kill them after we leave the city? The feminine-looking man asked thoughtfully. The yellow-clothed woman beside revealed some ridicule in her eyes. Didn't you find that she survived the beast tide last night based on 2 points? What 2 points? 1 is her footwork that's as fast as a ghost, and 2 is the toughness of her body that's comparable to that of a demonic beast. The yellow-clothed woman raised 2 fingers and asked softly, "Are you all not interested at all in her footwork and the body refining method?" She didn't believe that these few people wouldn't desire that woman's footwork and the body refining method. She advocated being delicate and beautiful, while cruelty and ruthlessness needed to remain inside. But she also hoped that her Bodhi's toughness could be comparable to demonic beasts, as that represented strength and combat power. The feminine man narrowed his eyes, hesitated, then said, "Naturally I desire it." She relied on her tough physique and footwork to flexibly roam around and kill among the demonic beast, but it isn't necessarily useful against us. The grim, uncertain expression of the tall, big man was replaced by decisiveness. If we don't get rid of them, they will definitely become a big concern. If we really can't compete with them, we all have means of escape, so what's there to hesitate? What's more, our overall strength is much stronger than theirs. We'll stay in the city to rest for now, and as soon as they leave the city, we'll get rid of them. The tall, big man made a gesture of cutting his neck. Among them, there were 2 sword monarchs and 3 peak phase sword kings, and they also came from a middle-sized kingdom. How could they be easily shocked by the performance of the woman last night and not dare carry out the original plan? Most importantly, they needed to obtain that woman's footwork and body refining method no matter what. "Boss, do we need to send a message to the other team of the Empire?" The man who constantly kept a smile asked. The tall, big man gritted his teeth and said, "For the time being, no need. I'll first record the news of those people. If there are changes, then we'll send the news over. After all, my relationship with that eldest brother isn't very good. It's good to be prepared." They took turns to monitor Lu Muyen and their group's every movement, while the others meditated and recovered, waiting to attack. In a room of the inn, Lu Muyen picked out the demonic beast crystal cores that could be used to refine pills, then tossed the rest to her few spirit pets to devour and refine. However, most of the crystal cores went into Meow Meow's stomach. After all, Tier 5 demonic beast crystal cores weren't so useful to the other 3 demonic beasts, especially Bingji. He didn't get a single one. After restoring her body to its peak state, night fell again, but this night was extremely calm. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Early the next morning, the several people met in the lobby of the inn and left the city together. "A lot of people are watching us today," Yunlan said with furrowed brows. Lu Muyen also discovered that. She apologized. "Apologies, it seems that I caused you all some unnecessary trouble." It seemed that many people probably wanted to contend for her body refining method. She had no intention of dragging the other 5 people into the water with her, but she didn't regret what she did last night, and she wouldn't be able to bring herself to do things in a cowardly manner even more. If the other people besides her elder brother felt that she was a drag to them, then she would act alone. Apologize for what? We chose to participate in the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, which means infinite trouble and danger. If we can't even deal with these petty schemers, then how can we speak of rushing into the top 100? The look in Yunlan's eyes was serious, and he didn't think that there was anything wrong with Lu Muyan's behavior last night. When one should show off, then one should be high profile. So what if others were fiery-eyed with desire? Yun Ziamo looked askance at her and said, "Put away your thoughts of acting alone, even if you pierce through the heavens, well, I'll accompany you to carry it one. To be able to be high profile in the tournament for hegemony, that's also a nice experience. Do whatever you want, we'll accompany you to the end. An elegant smile spread on Fu Chen's face, but his tone was full of domineering. Qi Xian had his own little feelings for Lu Muyen, so he just wanted to indulge her. If one of those people come, well, kill one. If a pair comes, well, kill a pair. You can just let free and play. They already said everything I want to say. Lu Mu Bai said with a helpless smile in his eyes. Lu Muyen just had a restless temperament. Wherever she went, she would stir up foul winds and make it rain blood too. Even if she didn't find trouble herself, trouble would take the initiative to deliver itself to her door. They were all willing to accompany her to play until the end. Lu Muyen really didn't expect these people to not only not blame her, but to even let her continue to get into trouble. It was just that the little plan in her heart had also completely dissipated. Since the 5 people believed in her like this, then she also couldn't let them down. If one chose to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony, then how could one not demonstrate their skills? If one didn't want to play, then don't come. If one wanted to play, then they must play big. Alright. Just pretend I didn't say that just now. Lu Muyen's brows were dyed with warmth. But don't blame me for not reminding you all. If we want to play, then we need to play something exciting. When that time comes, don't be cowering and be afraid to free your hands and feet. This woman really had no heart to be well behaved. After they left the city, many people followed, but they didn't do anything. After walking for about an hour, they left the plains near the city, and entered a dense forest, which was the only way to get to the central area. Lu Muyen's ears moved slightly, looked at a big tree not far away and smiled lightly. All come out. It must have been hard for you to wait here for so long. As soon as her voice fell, 5 people jumped down from the big tree, precisely the people who clashed with them in the city. It seems that you already can't wait to die. The tall, big man took a step forward, his eyes filled with killing intent. The other 4 quickly separated and surrounded the 6. The yellow-clothed woman said with a soft smile, "Remember not to touch that woman's face. I still want to peel it off to make a human skin mask. Sure, after we play them to death, that face skin is yours." The unscrupulous words of the few people completely aroused the killing intent in the hearts of Lu Mu Bai and the others. Lu Muyen glanced at the yellow-clothed woman casually. She couldn't resist revealing a faint smile. She had lived 2 lives, and it sure was the first time someone wanted to peel her face off and make a human skin mask. Interesting. Come true. Chapter 182. Resolve. The few people who followed Lu Muyen and her group quietly saw that the 2 parties were about to fight, so they immediately hid their figures to watch the battle. Maybe they would even be able to perform a when the snipe and clam grapple. The fisherman benefits. I'll deal with this chick. You all go quickly kill the other people. The tall, big man gave the 4 of them a look, and a long scarlet saber appeared in his hand. The other 4 nodded and looked at Lu Mu Bai and the others with unkind gazes. Yun Ziamo faced the Sword Emperor, Yun Lan and Qi Xian faced the yellow-clothed woman, Lu Mu Bai faced the feminine man, and Fu Chen faced the last pink-clothed woman. The battle was imminent. The tall, big man didn't have the heart of showing pity and tender care for Jade. He channeled elemental energy into his scarlet, long saber and swung it down towards Lu Muyen. The red sword light was dazzling in the sky, turning into a circular arc that flew out, stabbing straight towards Lu Muyen's heart. Lu Muyen's eyes were filled with coldness, but she didn't dodge. She pulled out a golden soft sword from her waist, channeled a trace of spiritual energy with a green sea of mist into it, then waved it gently. A round of golden crescent moons poured out like a rich display of lights, merging with the scarlet sword light. Instantly, a dazzling light burst out from within the entire forest. The energy from the collision between the 2 spread very far away as the surrounding trees broke and collapsed one after another. The scarlet sword light was annihilated in the light while the golden crescent moon burst through the air, heading directly towards the tall, big man. After the dazzling light passed, Lu Muyen's face remained indifferent, and her clothes were in perfect condition while the tall, big man opposite was in ragged clothes with a trace of blood left on his mouth. His eyes carried horror. Saint tool. You actually have a saint tool. The reason why Lu Muyen used her natal magic tool was because, 1, she wanted to try its power again, and 2, she wanted to fight quickly and finish quickly. So what if it's true? It's a pity you don't have the life to enjoy using it. Lu Muyen sneered when she saw the greed in the other's eyes. She turned her attention to the rear and saw that Lu Mu Bai and the others' battles weren't that easy to win. After all, the opponent was from a medium-sized kingdom, so they couldn't possibly not have some trump cards. Mo Yin, go and help, battle quickly, finish quickly, more people are coming towards us. Although Lu Mu Yan's mental energy was still dormant, but she could still feel the auras approaching. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes didn't even reveal the slightest fighting intent. In his eyes, those few people who were about to become a few corpses were nothing to worry about. Roar. A demonic beast roar resounded throughout the forest. With the pressure of a royal race demonic beast spreading throughout the dense forest, his roar contained a sonic attack, and those who were peeping all felt dizzy. The several people in the battle circle were also distracted by this sonic attack. His body suddenly grew several times larger, and the flame-like mark on his forehead appeared lifelike. He leapt up and landed straight in front of Lu Mu Bai. Then he stretched out his claws, slapped, and the currently confused feminine man flew out backwards, spurting a few mouthfuls of blood. Immediately after that, he swept his tail and it landed heavily on the flying body of the other party. His heart and lungs were shattered, and the feminine man immediately lost his aura after falling to the ground. The others woke from the sound waves, and what entered their eyes was the appearance of the man falling to the ground and bleeding to death. They all revealed panic. In just a few breaths of time, that woman's demonic beast actually killed one of their people. The several people suddenly had the intention of retreating. Body refining methods were nice, but they also needed to have a life to take it. The tall, big man's heart trembled. Although he had some means, but the other party had a saint tool, and also such a powerful tier 6 demonic beast. He could only escape. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing the tall, big man looking anxious, moving as if to retreat, with a thought, Lu Mu Yan's golden longsword was divided into 10 small swords, and she mouthed a few words. With a point of her fingers, several talisman seals condensed in mid-air, flew to the very top, then finally formed a jade-colored talisman belt, surrounding everyone within the battle circle. Quick! She let out a soft exclamation. The 10 flying swords hummed, lined up in a horizontal line, then flew towards the tall, big man who had already turned and fled towards the deep forest. Feeling the threat from the rear, the tall, big man took out a big cauldron to block him from behind. His figure dashed out but was then heavily bounced back. You want to escape in the array I arranged? Go die. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were sharp. The 10 flying swords penetrated the cauldron and shot straight at the tall, big man. The man's pupils constricted and immediately crushed a transparent ball of light in his hand. A stream of light flew towards the deep mountains in the distance, disappearing instantly. Don't kill me. I Surin. The tall, big man's voice stuck halfway, his eyes opened wide, filled with disbelief. How could this be? He, a sword master at initial phase sword monarch, was actually killed by a woman at middle phase sword king this quickly. He really shouldn't have tried to snatch the keys to the rooms at the beginning. His regretful expression dissipated little by little, together with his aura. Boss. The pink-clothed woman was also slapped to death by Mo Yen, while the smiling man and the yellow-clothed woman revealed terror in their eyes when they saw that their leader was killed by Lu Mu Yen. Wasn't this woman's combat power too exaggerated? The two looked at each other, then ran for their lives in different directions. But how could Yun Ziamo and the others, along with Mo Yen, let them escape? Mo Yen chased the yellow-clothed woman, waved his paw in the air, then a black plum blossom-shaped one palm print slapped directly at the woman's back. Pew! The woman spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, then sped up her steps to escape, but was blocked by Lu Mu Yan's jade-colored talisman belt. You can't kill me. We're from the EC Empire and there's still a team of people who are much stronger than us. If you kill me, they won't let you all go. The woman turned around and looked at Lu Mu Yen and the others, saying, unreconciled. The smiling man was already surrounded and killed by Yun Ziamo and the others. Lu Mu Yen walked to the yellow-clothed woman as if leisurely strolling through a courtyard, raised an eyebrow and said, Aren't you going to peel my face off to make a human skin mask? The yellow-clothed woman had long lost her previous imposing manner. Her body softened and said pitifully and softly, I just wanted to threaten you a bit earlier. As long as you guys don't kill me, I'll listen to anything you all say. Bing Ji shook the feathers on his body and said with a look of disgust, Owner, this ugly woman is so disgusting, hurry up and kill her. What did your leader crush just now? Lu Mu Yen looked at Bing Ji amusedly, then looked at the woman and asked, though she had a guess in her heart. It's an array ball that reports messages. As long as it's crushed, the message can be sent out. He's reporting the message to our other team of people. The yellow-clothed woman hated inwardly, but still said with softness and meekness. Lu Muyen lowered her head and pondered for a little, then walked to the yellow-clothed woman, pinched her chin and fed a drug into her mouth. What did you give me to eat? The woman wanted to dig out the drug, but the drug melted in her mouth the moment it entered. She looked at Lu Muyen with a trace of fear in her eyes and asked. Lu Muyen blinked and said with a smile, "Good stuff." Then she ignored the yellow-clothed woman and looked sharply at a part of the dense forest not far away. If those people dared to come up to seek death, she wouldn't mind also sending them off. Seeing that there weren't any movements, she called to Yun Ziamo and the others, then quickly left the place, leaving behind the currently terrified yellow-clothed woman with constantly changing expressions and no confidence in heart. Lu Muyen, why didn't you kill her? Fu Qin asked in confusion after walking for a while. Come true. One plum blossom shape is usually how the Chinese describe the paw-pad prints of cats or big cats, like tigers etc., or our cute little Mo Yen. Cute. Note, I think he'll take this chance to just go back to one-day chapters. Got sick yesterday, feeling better now? But also school is about to start at the end of next week and I need to start preparing stuff XD, so one day at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for now. Chapter 183. Temporarily avoid revealing their abilities. Lu Muyen, why didn't you kill her? I'm deliberately keeping her to report. The leading man already passed our news out using an array ball and we don't even know who the enemy is. Instead of letting them hide in the dark, might as well use that woman as bait to fish them out. Lu Muyen knew that killing those people would surely provoke the anger of the other team of the opponent's kingdom, but if they didn't kill them, then the other party wouldn't let them go either, so they could only continue to make enemies. What did you feed that ugly woman? Yun Lan asked with a smile. A type of slow-performing poison pill. After taking it, her face will gradually be covered in blue lines and she will age very quickly. Her cultivation base will also halt, then she will gradually die. A coldness flashed past Lu Muyen's eyes. She had ideas about my face and paid most attention to her own face. It would be too unkind of me not to repay her. In her spare time before, she refined several kinds of poison pills which were specifically designed to deal with those who were scheming and vicious. But she just didn't expect that on the second day after entering here she would have to use one of the types of pills. The several people couldn't help revealing a bit of a smile. Such a repayment would probably make that woman's life worse than death. Lu Muyen, isn't your combat power too powerful? You didn't spend much effort to kill that sword monarch cultivation base leader. After Fu Qin familiarized himself with everyone, he also gradually said more. Lu Muyen's cultivation base was only middle phase sword king, but the combat power she displayed could probably kill sword masters of middle phase sword monarch cultivation base and above. After all, her means haven't all been exhausted. Actually, the reason why I won so quickly just now was mainly because the other party underestimated the enemy, plus the sudden attack of my spirit pet which deterred him, and he wanted to escape without using his trump cards. That's why he died so quickly. Lu Muyen wasn't being humble. At first, the tall, big man felt that he would definitely win her, so he slightly belittled. When she used her natal magic tool, he was then intimidated, and then he was completely deterred by Mo Yan's power. That person only wanted to escape, so she had a chance to take advantage of it. Otherwise, if he really used his trump cards one by one, she definitely would never have won so easily. Of course, although her own cultivation base was one stage lower than the opponent, but ever since she comprehended the water element to a new height, plus the power of her natal magic tool, without using her trump cards, her comprehensive strength was already comparable to an average advanced phase sword monarch. It wouldn't be difficult to kill a man who was only at initial phase sword monarch. That's true. They underestimated the enemy from the beginning. Fu Qin nodded, and his gaze moved to Mo Yen on Lu Muyan's shoulder, clearly having some lingering fears at the power the fire cloud mink displayed earlier. Qi Yixian knew that this spirit pet of Lu Muyan's was won from an auction, but he didn't expect this demonic beast to have reached tier 6 strength in such a short period of time. It truly was incredible. Could he not be a fire cloud mink? Mu Yen, your spirit pet is advancing so fast. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and joked, his owner, I am a genius, so he naturally can't be too far behind. Her joking remarks also avoided Qi Yixian's words. Was there such a way to praise oneself? I wonder how strong the other team of the EC Empire is? Yun Lan said with a solemn expression. Definitely much stronger than these rabble. Lu Muyen saw that Yun Ziamo obviously knew about the EC Empire and asked him, how is the EC Empire's national strength? The cultivation bases of the few people they killed were mostly piled up with pills. They had a cruel temperament and used ruthless methods. They were probably arrogant pupils raised by distinguished clans, and the other team probably felt disdain towards them, so they acted separately. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Of course, disdain for this team didn't mean that they could tolerate them being killed. Getting into trouble was inevitable. The EC Empire is a large kingdom in the western region. It ranks in the middle of the entire Tianling continent's rankings and is much stronger than Yanzhou Kingdom. That's why they don't take us seriously. Yun Zimo's expression was obscure as he answered. Lu Muyen smiled and teased, who do you think will take us seriously? The red jade tablet in our hands means that we're soft peaches. Hurry up and come squeeze us. Pfft. After hearing her words, their originally heavy hearts gradually lightened. Then, according to the strength of the EC Empire, how many places are they allocated? Lu Muyen asked. 11. Their other team should be an elite group of 6. Yun Zimo paused, then said, in each region the large kingdom's forces are very intricate and complex, so the places to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony couldn't have been allocated like Yanzhou Kingdom. Under the pressure of the empire's imperial family and distinguished clans, they will also allow a number of places to be given to other clans' pupils to make up for the numbers, just like the 5 earlier. But they would also carefully select an elite team to compete for the top 100. If we encounter elite teams from large and medium-sized kingdoms, then there is currently 0 chance of winning. So that's how it is. No wonder that in the previous refuge city, I felt that a portion of the people weren't as strong as I thought they would be. So it's because they entered the competition through connections. Lu Muyen rubbed her chin as she said. Lu Mu Bei's light eyes darkened. Even if they came in through connections, but it also means their own strength isn't that bad, otherwise it'd be impossible to be sent by their empires to participate in such a competition. We still have to hurry up to improve our strength. That way, if we meet the other team of the EC Empire, we would be able to deal with them. His words touched the bottom of everyone's heart. They were the genius leaders of the younger generation of the empire when they were in Yanzhou Kingdom, but it wasn't enough here. The strength of a random group of people even just looked stronger than them. Sword monarch powerhouses were everywhere. They all had their own trump cards, but others might have stronger trump cards. If they weren't careful, they might be the ones who fall here. How did the people of Yanzhou Kingdom advance to above 2,000th? Lu Muyen only found out that there were tens of thousands of talented sword masters. For a small kingdom like Yanzhou, let alone top 100, even entering top 3,000 was a good result. Yun Zimo's cold, handsome face was in a daze for a moment before realizing what she meant, then replied with a light smile. I heard that they hid in a secretive mountain forest to cultivate during the preliminary round. Only after they advanced their cultivation bases, did they come out to kill demonic beasts to score points. This method is actually used by many sword masters from small and medium-sized kingdoms. After all, as long as they weren't at a refuge city in the wild, as long as sword masters met and fought, then the organizer wouldn't care about their life or death. He added. Lu Muyen's eyes lit up. She pointed at the mountain ahead of her and said, that could be considered a good way. Let's also go to a hidden place deep in the mountain to cultivate for a month before going out. Their team was indeed quite weak. If they encountered the other elite team of the EC Empire, they would probably lose a few people. It was better to temporarily avoid revealing their abilities and wait until they have the ability to fight back to act. The spiritual force in this competition space was abundant, and they could even directly absorb and refine demonic beast crystal cores. She could also refine a few types of pills that could improve cultivation bases for the others to take, and after they come out in a month's time, it would definitely be a different scene. If there wasn't enough time, then she could just get Bingji to transform and fly over directly. Alright. Well, listen to you. Yun Zimo and the others pondered a little, then agreed to her proposal. It would take half a month for them to travel non-stop to the central area from here. It was still feasible for them to take a month to improve their cultivation base. After negotiating, the several people flew towards the thickly forested mountains not far away. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.